I can hear it.
Or half the time, I just feel like I'm talking to me, Matt, and Jen.
You know what? That's all that matters.
Oh, Nick hasn't heard it in a while.
Oh, you can hear it. Must be nice.
Jiving.
Welcome to GoodFlickas, home of the GoodFlickas. Can you take our critiques? Proof that I am not just making you guys listen to 30 seconds of silence every week. That was fun to see. I liked getting some energy from it. So still looking forward to figuring out how to get the sound back for you guys so you can hear everything. But, you know, as life settles. But welcome to GoodFlickas. We are going to be talking about the wonderful Christmas film. Actually, before I get too far, obviously you can see we've got a little bit of some setting change. Nick, who is my Sacramento buddy, is visiting the household tonight. So we've got a live show with two of the GoodFlickas in person. At some point in the coming year, looking forward to 2024, we'll have all four of the GoodFlickas under one roof at some point.
We get 3 likes, guys. 3 likes.
Three likes, and we'll all get together in person for real. 3 likes. Check us out on YouTube.
If we can get one email,
3 likes and 2 shares. That'll do it for us.
And one email.
One email. Yeah. Lots of good things to be looking forward to in the new year. But speaking of, it is now. We never landed on a name for this Disney December thing, did we? We fought a little bit. Did we?
I've been rolling with it on the gram and everything.
Okay, I haven't been reading the posts. I've just been liking them.
Yep.
Is it Disney Plus Christmas?
I went with Disney Christmas December, DCD.
Oh, okay.
DCD, Disney Christmas December. Okay, that's not so bad. Yeah, I like it. All
right, it flows. I like it.
That's good. DCD. I like. That's what I really like. Is a good acronym, right? DCD. Right.
All day.
That's the type of energy it brings. DCD. So yes, this is our first official pick for DCD, and Brian, you were able to keep it alive and take away my generous offer of filling in for you for this week.
Yeah.
Yes, Nick.
I have a question. Was my pick last week not the first?
Not officially.
Not official.
It's not. It was not December, but it was a Christmas movie.
But it was after Thanksgiving.
It fit all of the things. So here's the thing.
Listen, it was the foreplay to DCD.
Ooh, I like it.
Oh, okay. I'm all about foreplay.
You got to preheat the oven before you put the Christmas cookies in.
Yeah.
You damn right. What are you, a crazy person? Just gonna throw that raw dough in there?
No, I just eat it.
You're just gonna do it raw? Like, come on.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick. All right. But yes, on that note, we are talking about the Santa Claus, which is Brian's pick. But I guess because distracted enough, I should introduce the GoodFlickas. I am, of course, Matt, joined tonight with the full crew in person. I'm going to switch it up a little bit because he is in person. Sure. The bearded badass himself, looking like real spiffy. Like he looks nice after work. I got home early enough that I changed. So like he's got his little flannel on, his little sweater, his little fleece vest, looking all good. Yeah, man. You should have seen his shoes. Actually, I really like those shoes. He's got these brown. He's brown. Yeah. Pull this up. Yes.
Okay.
This is a little side segment of GoodFlickas we don't typically address is the
fashion.
Nick's got a big boy job going on.
What's it? The outfit of the day? What is it? The Udud?
Oh, the OTTD
outfit.
The
Udud. Yes, the Udid. Wow, we're nailing this.
Man, you're so Udid today.
You're so Udid, yes. As the kids say, I'm sure.
What are the kids saying nowadays?
Yeah, oh my god.
It's bussin'. That's what they're saying.
Yo, your Udid is fire, bro.
Oh god. You know that's more than I know.
Yeah.
Screw the kids. Get off my lawn.
By the way, can I just say something? Because we always address the bearded bastard / badass.
I was nice tonight.
No, you're great. I like it. I just want to mention that I put beard oil in for the first time today.
For the first time ever?
Well, it's the first one I ever bought, but I've sampled one like years ago, and I put it on, and then at work today I was like, man, my beard's like feeling good, but I would accidentally touch it, and then I'll have oil all over my beard or all over my hand.
Yeah.
Like, well, now I can't touch my mouse, my keyboard, my phone. I can't do anything. So that's the downside to beard oil, but it works.
Well, the flip side to it, just make sure you've got like some hand sanitizer on your desk, get that oil off, you're good to go. But I'm with you. Like I don't have much at times, and I've been shaving stuff, but it feels nice.
Feels nice.
Feels nice. Especially if you got an itchy beard. So
like I do.
There you go. There you go. So the bearded badass sharing his bearded tips, beard oil. It's worth it. It's got its downfalls, but everything does. Anyway.
Beard oil, because you're worth it.
Oh my god.
Also tonight with us with her big bowl is gin. What was in the big bowl tonight? Like you needed to load up because it was a long day of crushing some diamond art.
Yeah, that's about all I did. And wash my bed sheets.
Yes.
I made creamy polenta, then put some pesto, a whole bunch of seasonings, and then some salmon burgers.
Okay. Real good. All right. Yes, the big bowl sounds real good. And last but not least, joining us with the festive hat and the pick for the night is the one, the only Brian. Actually, what was your name tonight? Like that's always fun to see. Santa Pods.
Does anyone know what happens if I fall off a roof? That's all I want to know.
It's never really answered.
We'll get into that.
Yes, I've got lots to talk about now that we're going to be diving into this. But Nick seems to be confused by the pods part.
Yeah, but like the storage pods, or that's the first thing that came to
Bro,
mind.
we're podcasting.
Oh,
that's too obvious.
And pods is kind of like claws. Come on.
Okay.
Man, I gotta take your hand and walk you across the street on this one.
Well, I guess we were giving you more credit than you deserve.
Yeah.
I thought you were making a reference to the movie, so I couldn't figure it out.
Like he normally does, not just making a bad holiday pun.
Taking a reference to what?
The movie.
Oh, got it. Well, I mean, Santa.
Oh my God. Again, the low-hanging fruit.
I obviously knew the Santa part. I didn't.
Hey, did you know Santa was part of this?
Apparently, I'll have to come up with a new name. This is not working. So give me a sec.
Being ridiculed to the point of like, fine, I'll change my damn name.
I'll change my name. You want creative? I'll show you creative.
Dude, yeah. Brian, so I mean, first off, why did you pick the movie? And then we can get into
I mean, we're doing Disney Disney Christmas December, and I was kind of combing through, and I also was kind of on the hot seat to pick a movie fairly quickly that I wasn't expecting to even do. So I went through, and I'm like, it's a super low hanging fruit, but it's definitely one that we can't. I figured we cannot do DCD without doing this movie. Plain and simple. I mean, it is a timeless classic, and I just found so much joy watching this one again, as I always do, year after year after year. It's just a beautifully done true Christmas movie. Like, this could be the staple of when you think of a Christmas movie. Compare it to the Santa Claus and see where you're at, and you'll probably know if you have a Christmas movie or not, because it just doesn't get any more Christmas than this. It really does not. So I just know that we'd have a lot of fun unpacking it. There's quotes galore in this one, a lot of fun moments and scenes, and I just knew that we had to get this one in the books and get it recorded. So that's why I picked it. And I just thought it was a great movie to jumpstart our Disney Christmas December. Anyone want to go first? If not, I'll go first.
I'll go.
Okay.
I will volunteer as tribute, even though you awkwardly looked at me.
That was me asking if you want.
That's called voluntold by your eyes.
Voluntold. There we go.
You get your voice out there and you say shit now.
Ah! Ah! Not how I expected to start this. Yeah, so this is my first time watching this.
Woo!
Yeah.
First time, or he's a Santa Claus bird?
There are times you shock me, and then there are times you nearly like push me off my chair. These are one of the push me off my chair times.
Like I shocked you out of your chair.
Like it's what?
I think I've seen bits and pieces of it on TV, like when I was younger, but I never watched it all the way through.
Wow. Okay. All right. This will be a great night then.
This is gonna be a little controversial. I think this movie is okay. I don't think it's like the best Christmas movie, but it's also not the worst Christmas movie. I like the concept of the story, the overall story of the dad and the son and trying to figure out Christmas and everything together. But I think it could have been written better. Just in terms of like scene writing and dialogue writing, and like character writing. I think it could have been better writing wise. But I think it's that there are like a lot of good fun scenes. There's a lot of fun moments, a lot of fun like jokes and just kind of like small bits of humor. But again, I kind of wanted a little bit more humor overall. And yeah, so this is just like it's a decent Christmas film, but it's not up there for me. I gave this one a 3.4 out of 5.
My brother had a look of like, I'm about to kill you through the screen.
It's not like he insulted Die Hard.
I mean, that's not a Christmas movie. We discussed that.
We've come to a conclusion.
Until I flip flop and decide that it is.
I mean, compare Die Hard to this movie, and you have your answer.
Go ahead, Jen.
Is it okay that I go, or did you?
No, absolutely. You're good. You're good.
Okay, so let's liven up the group here. I don't know what Nick is talking about. I'm just kidding. No, what's funny is that I was a little grinchy before watching this movie because I was talking to my dad and he asked like, what's the movie? I was like, the Santa Claus. And then they were like, oh, maybe we should get that. I was like, nah. I was like, I mean, it's a good movie, but it's not worth buying. And then like as I'm watching, I was like, I lied. I was like, you buy it now. Like, it's so good. It's such a heartwarming film. It's like holding a cup of hot cocoa with marshmallows and whipped cream. Like it gives you everything. It kind of tugs at your heartstrings a little bit. At least it did for me. I cried at some scenes, and the North Pole is just stunning. I always think about like the North Pole in this movie because I've never seen it show up the way it does like in other Christmas movies. They nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. And it's a fun sleigh ride and night of adventure. And I'm excited to get into this one. And I give this a 4.8.
Wow. All right. Okay. Brian, I can go, so you get to go last.
For sure.
Obviously, this is not my first time seeing this movie, but what I love about this movie is that it has now gotten so many sequels. It's got a TV series. Like there's a Santa Claus mythos now. Like, there's this whole universe that is this Santa Claus. I haven't seen any of the TV show yet, but I'm really interested because I've got questions now that we've watched this movie again. And I'm hoping that some of them are kind of answered, and at least in the show, but who knows what we'll figure out tonight. But as I was rewatching this movie, this is kind of like my effort to really get into the Christmas spirit this year. Excuse me, I took that terrible hiccups. But I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. I read some of the facts before starting the movie, and it some of it made sense to me. There was one thing that I read where I was like, okay, this makes perfect sense for why this movie looks the way that it does, like as I'm watching it, compared to how the sequels and everything else is. But ultimately, I think this movie holds up as a solid Christmas movie. Like there's a reason it's nostalgic. There's a reason we always go back to it. There's a reason it's still pretty timeless. I mean, this is a movie before cell phones, and I don't think anything in it really feels out of place. Like even like the technology and stuff. Ooh, compact disc, CD, like all of that kind of like all of those technology things. They don't feel out of date. They still feel magical. So that's really cool. But I agree with Nick that there are some struggles that I had with the story watching it this go around and noticing something. My biggest complaint is this is another one of the stories where ultimately the main character, I'm going to say the father in this particular instance, has an issue. Actually, this is very similar to Jingle All the Way, where the dad has a problem, and by the end of the movie, he doesn't really fix that problem. This movie does a great job of creating and building the magic of Christmas, sweetie. Where you get to, you get to see a man who's like, oh yeah, I believe in Santa Claus, become Santa Claus. And it really pushes the magic of Christmas, which I think it does very well. But the problem story-wise is ultimately he's still just a dad who's never around. So it's like you didn't fix the problem, you just became a magical being. Which actually
the 90s, Matt. Come on.
Well, here's the thing. They bring it up in the second movie, right? Like that's the problem in the second one is like, yeah, he's Santa Claus, but he's still not freaking here. So it's little things like that, but still, I think this is a great Christmas movie. It hits you in the feels. It's beautiful. It's magical. You get to see the North Pole. The elves are great, and like you said, there's tons of quotes that are still bringing up to this day. So yeah, looking at my old score, I was a bit more critical. I haven't really glanced over the notes or anything, but I ranked it a 3.8 originally, but this go around I gave it a 4.1. So I liked it a little bit more. So my score improved, which I think kind of goes to prove that like, no, this really does hold up over time.
All right. So the Santa Claus is probably one of the movies that's up there as to exactly how many times I've watched it in my life. It's got to be one of the highest movies for sure. I can't think in the last 10 years, I can't think of one Christmas that's gone by that I haven't watched it at least once during the season. And I just never get tired of it. I really do just love this movie. It is the takeaway that I got on this one though, this one was interesting, is I noticed how great of a job they did at combining the real world meets Santa Claus world, and how it intertwined throughout the movie several times to where it wasn't just bringing you into this fantasy Christmas land where everything is perfect and just leaves you there. It brings you back into real world issues with real world problems, and how someone truly is Santa Claus and how people are coping with it. And it's just to me, it's just so realistic on what they did and how they executed this to where, and I was like, it was so tactfully done. And I don't think it was that easy to pull off. So great job with that one. And then I've got more examples to pull up in my notes that I took down. Highly quotable. I wrote down 10 quotes and I had to stop myself because I could have wrote down more. But the dialogue on some of these characters are just incredible. And yeah, I mean, I'm with my sis. The North Pole scene is the win. We'll talk about it. But it's stunning when you get to there and what they did with it. And then, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I gave this one a 4-point snowman as well, so that would be a 4.8.
Oh.
So Jen and I, just brother and sister, born and raised. We know the Santa Claus. We know. Yeah, I think that's it.
Have a problem.
We do not have a problem.
You have a sick love of Christmas.
Yeah.
I like how it's like us versus them.
Before we get into the stuff, let me go check on a few things, including the book, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I determined that it wasn't going to be in the book.
Since it was before.
That's right. Okay, but yeah, give me 1 sec anyway.
Okay,
I'm going to do one last Hail Mary for me.
Gotcha. We'll stall before Nick drops his epic Santa Claus rap.
Yeah, you're getting alive today.
I know. What's going to be real interesting to see is if you insult me. It is like my favorite part to figure out like whether you're going to do it or not, and if you do, what the dig's going to be, because it's not always just interrupting Brian or just constantly having shit to say.
It's usually like a one-liner, kind of like something simple. Just a little jab I throw in there.
Sometimes it's just a mean comment.
Sometimes you're just.
Why would you say that? Why would you be so mean to me? Why would you hurt my feelings?
Like feelings.
You see what I'm having to deal with here, Jen? 4 more hours of this crap? I don't think so.
All right, Hail Mary. Sorry.
Dropped it in the end zone.
Big time.
Classic best of times. That's a movie that Brian, you and I actually might enjoy it too, Nick. Jen, I don't know for you. It's it's a football movie, but it's Robin Williams, Kurt Russell, reliving an old football game from high school and playing again as adults. It's freaking hilarious.
I like that.
It's fun, and it's like 80. I think it's the 80s. It's the 70s or the 80s, but like it's young Kurt Russell and Robin Williams, and Robin Williams playing football is probably not what you'd expect. So yeah, I need to get you guys to see that one just so you catch the reference, because it's a fun one not many people have seen.
What's it called?
The Best of Times.
Is there a sequel called The Worst of Times?
No, this is not A Tale of Two Cities. Although, has anybody ever made that into a movie?
I don't know.
I feel like the story's probably been done, but like a true adaptation, I don't know. Anyway, so Brian was a failure. Big loser.
He took an L on this one.
He did. But now we can all take an L, as Nick here is going to serenade us and make us feel like a loser. Yeah, I'm not going to drop a beat for you, but like, do you want me to drop a beat for you?
No.
Good.
No.
Good.
Just
no. That's a good call. It's a good call. I can't keep rhythm.
You really thought about that, huh?
Unless if I give you a tempo.
No, it won't work.
No, okay. All right.
Not worth it.
I turned my hard no into a maybe no.
I know he's softening up on me. I make him feel a little bit bad for poking fun of me, and now he's getting all sensitive.
I would watch a show of just you two, bantering back and forth with each other.
All right. Here we my heart always, like, if I had like a heart monitor on me, it's always like boop, 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 boop. Yeah. All right. Get your Santa hats. It's time for fun facts. We're talking Santa Claus on the GoodFlickas chat. This is movie number 1 of 3. That's right. This is a trilogy. You can watch them all on Plus Disney. Matt's looking dumb sitting next to me. We got Tim Allen playing Santa. He can disappear like a phantom to the North Pole in a sleigh. Hey, the police try to get in the way. Neil is such a fucking weenie whistle. I want to blast him with a rocket missile. I'm yours truly, Nicholas Klaus. Now let's hear some fun facts about the Santa Claus.
Big applause for that one.
Hey, I can actually hear the applause.
See, I'm telling you, it's not just me saying things and pretending to hit buttons.
I gotta say, your raps are getting so much better when you start to incorporate things from the movie into the rap. Oh, that just is working.
He's come up with some good ones, man. And I realize like it's a lot to expect each week, but you keep coming with them. So like, do you, man?
You know,
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I love when you put music to it in the it's the best.
That's honestly my favorite part when I do the edit. Is like, ooh, what song can I put to this?
It makes it sound even better.
Yeah, that's what instrumentals are all about.
Oh, that's why pay your artists.
By the way, Matt, did you get my jab at you?
Next year we'll have a CD coming out with all of our fun fact songs.
Oh, so actually, it's funny you mentioned that, Jen, because every time I edit one of these together, I will take like that 30-second like of just the song itself, and I have them all in a folder. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make a compilation of just all of them play back to back, like a 2023 fun fact rap compilation.
Yes. And then
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Great
I've got
idea.
6 of them in there already.
But what if you could get those songs to Brian and he could, is there a way to put those into an Instagram post? So like when you're posting the results after we've done this chat and you're like, okay, here's our scores and all of this stuff. What if you had the fun facts rap going over that clip?
Oh, I don't know.
I think
That's something we could do. Because I don't know how the music. I feel like you have to pull music from like Spotify.
All I know is
with Instagram.
For Instagram, I just search, like you press the music icon and then you can just search for there. And if it's uploaded on it, then you can pick it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's all. I think it pulls from Spotify, so like it's licensed music.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
some that I use, like I have a whole folder of like instrumental beats from like years ago. I pull some from YouTube. Like, yeah, it's all over the place.
Well, I'd love to see I'd love to see like a compilation of the raps. That'd be great.
Yeah.
We keep talking about ideas for like this end of the year like wrap up stuff. It just never works out.
The fun fact wrap up.
Oh, it rates itself.
only $9.95 plus shipping and handling. Get your coffee.
Right, that's right, Jen.
Get your coffee before Christmas, ladies and gents.
These are gonna sell out quick.
Yeah. I am the gift.
So fast.
All right, guys. So the Santa Claus comes out 1994, which is
so
wow,
I
30
was
years. 30 years next year.
Why are we always like a year too
Is
early?
it 30? Hang on, or is it 40? Can't add. I think it's 40.
Oh, 30. I am 30 right now, and I was born in 93.
Okay, no. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I was right. So yeah, 30-year anniversary coming up next year. Directed by John Pasquin, also the director of Miss Congeniality 2, Jungle to Jungle, and Joe Somebody. So clearly, Tim Allen is his guy. That's three out of 4 with Tim Allen. Speaking of Tim Allen being the A-lister of the Santa Claus, and I don't know if you guys know, but what a time 1994 was for Tim Allen. I've got a fact coming up for you guys later, but by far one of the biggest names in Hollywood going on this, and it's I mean actually in the nation. He was just a recognized, well-known household name. Everybody knew him, and so we have him. We also have Eric Lloyd, who plays Charlie. We have Judge Reinhold, who is Neil. Wendy Crewson is Laura, who I always think of the American version of Posh. And let's see. Who else can I? Oh, some other honorable mentions I'm going to pop up here. Everyone loves them. Guys, goes by the name of Bernard. Nobody knows his name. His name is David Krumholtz. That's Krumholtz. That sounds like a name out of the North Pole. So bravo to that one. And then the other one that
from 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes, he is. Yeah, so he had a pretty good career. And then the other one that I'll bring up, again, everyone loves her. No one knows her name. Judy the Elf. This is played by Paige Tamada, Tamada. Does anyone want to talk about any of these actors or actresses or anything? Go into their roles. Okay, go ahead, Nick.
I know I'm all the way in the back, but still seeing it. No, the actor that plays Bernard.
Yeah,
Bernard. I didn't know who he was, but I thought his acting was really, really well done.
Oh,
like he just has like a really good sense of like delivery and like tone and facial expressions and everything. I was really impressed.
Bernard's everyone loves Bernard.
Yeah, he was great.
I don't think they realized what they had until the movie came out, and they're like, "Oh, Bernard's a big deal."
I think he was my winner last time we did this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Yeah. Did anyone want to know? Kind of go into the actor's career or anything, or are we good? Or highlight anyone?
Well, I was curious. I mean, do you have their careers pulled up?
Yeah, I can pull it up.
I'm mostly curious because you brought up Judy. I didn't think to look into her at all. So just curious if she's done really anything since the Santa Claus.
So she did one movie called Milo in 1998, which I haven't seen. And then I know for a fact, we'll say it now, she also worked with Tim Allen in one episode of Home Improvement. And she was also in a couple of other 90s sitcoms. Apparently she was in Fresh Prince. I don't remember her being in Fresh Prince, but yeah, so
interesting.
She kind of tinkered around some of the big 90s sitcom TV shows, and then that's for the most part it. I can pull up her IMDb to give a little bit more of a deeper dive if I can find her. Wow,
you're looking her up. Just a quick shout out to Judge Reinhold, because he's he's probably big name actor from the 80s that everybody knows. Beverly Hills Cop. Are you a fan?
Oh yeah.
No.
I forgot he's in that.
Like he was. I feel like the 80s was like a big time for Judge Reinhold, and then he just kind of faded off in the 90s. But quick little shout out to him.
Oh, son of a bitch. I do remember Paige in Fresh Prince. She's one of the Bluebirds.
I'm guessing that's some like a Girl Scout troop thing with Ashley.
Yes, it's exactly what it was. It was Girl Scouts that Hillary was overseeing.
Oh God.
I definitely remember
that could
her
only
now.
go well.
Yeah. And then okay, so she had an episode on Seinfeld, Home Improvement, Full House, Fresh Prince, Mad City, and then she's also in the Santa Clauses, which I believe is a TV show of this year that I have not seen.
Interesting. Okay, so just because you bring up the TV show, the Santa Clauses, that's really interesting to know that she shows up in that. I'm assuming she's not Judy because she can't play herself 30 years later. There's no way. But I'd be impressed if they did.
Yeah.
But are you guys familiar with at least the premise of season 1 of the Santa Clauses?
No.
So essentially, it's Scott Calvin is looking for his replacement. But there's a lot of stuff that's going on. I just saw that the season 2 finale is done, so there's 2 complete seasons up. From implications, it seems like there may be a third. I don't know if they're going to keep doing this. But it seems like the story gets really interesting towards the end of season 1 and into season 2. So I'm interested. I want to watch it, but also just because season 1, the whole premise is picking a Santa, like picking a new Santa. I want to know what the details are that they come up with that, considering this movie is the start of Scott Calvin being chosen as Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Not chosen.
And I mean, more importantly, original Santa dies and no one gives a shit. Like, it cracks me up, man.
That is why I'm curious. Like when we get into like that scene and stuff,
tough beat.
Well, there's some phrasing stuff that like Bernard says. I'm like, why did he say that?
Right.
So I've got my questions, and I'm curious if the show addresses them. I doubt that it will, but I'm optimistic. I'm looking forward to those chats.
All right. So yeah, those are some of the highlights. There's obviously a couple more actors in this movie, but we can't go over everybody. So the ratings, we're giving this one 4.28.
That's low.
4.28.
Guys.
It's not my fault.
I know.
Letterbox is a 3.1 out of 5. IMDb is 6.5 out of 10. And this one hurt. Why are you laughing?
His laugh was like 2 feet away.
I know.
You're I don't know. I'm sorry. Your pain is funny to me.
This one just really hurt my feelings.
I know, and I'm sorry.
Ebert.
Oh, he hated it. He probably gave it half a star.
2.5 out of 4.
See, here's the sad thing. You say 2.5 out of 4, and coming from Ebert, I look at that as a win.
That's pretty, yeah, for being in a kid movie, that's pretty high for, I was expecting it like a 1.
Still hurt my feelings.
I mean, when that's essentially his middle ground, right? Like, I mean, there's no great in between when you have a scale of 4 stars. So
Yeah.
like, that's above middle to me. So,
all right, I'll give you that.
I just, like I said, from him specifically, a 2.5, I'm like, I'd consider that a win.
All right, fine. I'll give you that.
You don't have to like it.
Budget 22 million, worldwide gross 190.5 million.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's Tim Allen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Tim Allen money.
It's a Tim Allen joint.
That's a Tim Allen money.
That's Tim Allen cash.
Yeah.
Oscar 0, Golden Globes 0.
Snubbed.
Not surprised. Oh,
There are some awards though.
Ooh.
the Razzies. Just kidding.
No Razzies, but we're going to be dipping into the Kids' Choice Awards, the MTV Movie Awards, the People's Choice Awards, all that. This thing was taking storm on these. So, nominated for Kids' Choice, favorite movie actor Tim Allen. MTV Movie nominated for Best Breakthrough Performance Tim Allen, Best Comedic Performance Tim Allen. People's Choice Awards winner, favorite comedy motion picture.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously it's a family movie. I mean, let's just be real. So no surprise that these are the type of awards that it's pulling from. I am a little surprised Golden Globes didn't give it anything. I can understand Oscars, completely understand that, but I think Golden Globes tend to be a little on the more lighthearted side of the awards than Oscars.
Possibly. I just to argue, I don't think that this is really award worthy.
Mhm.
I mean, like being nominated for all the other stuff. I mean, like it's just people's choice and all that stuff. Like, absolutely, sure. I'm not saying it doesn't deserve recognition, but in my
Yeah.
opinion, I wouldn't consider this an award worthy movie.
Yeah, like Kids' Choice, People's Choice, like Nickelodeon, Teen Choice, like those types of award shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. For 1 week in November in 1994, Tim Allen had the number one movie at the box office, was on the number one rated TV show, and had New York Times best-selling book.
Wow.
The Santa Claus was the movie. Home Improvement was the TV show. Don't Stand Too Close to a Naked Man is the book.
The child-friendly novel.
If I'm not mistaken, on the VHS, and I wish I could pull it, but I want to say on the VHS there was actually a trailer, like there was a preview promoting his book.
Oh wow, I can see that.
Because I don't remember why, but like the "Don't Stand Too Close to a Naked Man," like I remember vividly that ad, which is weird, but like I remember that. I don't even know what the book's about. I don't think the naked man thing is what you'd think.
It's probably like a metaphor for life or something.
I'm sure. Tim had an interesting life. Ryan.
Oh yeah. So I mean, like I said earlier, this Tim Allen, just one of the biggest names in Hollywood, just nationwide. And then obviously a year later, he goes and he's the voice of Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story. I mean, he's just on a roll around this time, for sure. This was his first lead film, hence the breakout or the breakthrough performance award that he was given, or I'm sorry, nominated for. He definitely had a little rough life. I don't know exactly what he did, but there was some criminal record of him, and Disney had a rule that they wouldn't ever work with anyone that had a criminal record. They made an exception for Tim Allen. That's how big he was.
What was his criminal record?
I didn't want to dig too deep.
I believe
to me, I wasn't that interested in it.
I believe it was substance issues.
Oh,
okay. A little carry on from the 80s. Or the 60s, apparently.
Oh my
God. Brian and I were like on the same.
All right. Did you notices? Did you notice that there were portraits of past Santas on the bedroom wall?
See, I meant to look for this, but after reading the fact, and I still got distracted by all the creepy ass dolls,
which just instantly raises a lot of questions.
Why is there so many?
Killing Santa Claus.
Like, well, I mean, we can save it. Yeah. The bottom line is, you guys seem awfully prepared for in the event Santa goes missing. So,
considering your business card is a tricky ass contract.
Yeah.
This is why you don't trust the pay folk.
There were possible Scott Calvins.
Yeah. I have
one of them, Bill Murray. And the other one, Tom Hanks. Any comments?
Well, neither of those were what I thought. But I mean, Tom Hanks would be my choice of those. But I thought it should have been Robin Williams. I thought he would have played that role so well.
Williams as Santa Claus, I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, not just the fact that he can, like the gradual transformation into Santa. Not only would that look great on him, but I feel like Robin Williams would have just added a little bit more of the comedy, just a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean he would have the juice because what 93 is Aladdin, so he's coming right off of 93 is Aladdin, right?
That sounds right.
Yeah, so he's coming right off of being the genie. It's not a bad move.
Well, to fuel that fire, I feel like Robin Williams has a better handle on like children's level comedy
Yeah,
than Tim Allen does. Like, especially early on in this movie, a lot of the jokes and things that he's making, like these are very geared towards adults.
mm-hmm.
But like, that's not necessarily a bad thing because you have to cater to the adults who are here watching the movie with their kids, right?
Which Pixar has mastered.
Exactly. But yeah, like I that would be an interesting choice because I think Robin Williams would probably, I just think he'd hit the comedy a little bit better, but I don't know. Tim had some great little snarky bits about Neil, and I don't know if they were written or not, but like him just kind of rattling off insults to Neil were great.
Well, where you got me really interested about the Robin Williams thing is what he can provide when he's doing his own improv. He's like, okay, I'm surrounded, I'm in the set, I'm just gonna cook. And it's always just, we've done a couple of Robin Williams movies. It's gold. He just brings amazing material to the screen.
Yeah.
And it was like a second nature to him.
Yeah.
I'll
Could not be denied.
I'll comment. I personally think that some of the scenes with Tim Allen and what's the actor who plays Charlie?
Eric Lloyd.
Some of those scenes when the two of them are together, I felt like some lines didn't come off. Like the punch never really came off between them. Sometimes the dialogue between them was a little stiff. It was a little like awkward at times. I was like, yeah, the interactions between these two are just not really hitting it for me. Like not throughout the whole movie, but just like there were like a lot of moments like here and there throughout the film. I was like, not really feeling the exchange here. But
well, you bring that up, and I think it's one of my things too with like the writing where he doesn't really change from being the absent father, where the movie implies that as he's doing as the whole Santa Claus transformation is happening, he's spending all of his time with Charlie, but we don't see much of that. And the stuff that we do, it's really them just freaking out about like, why does he look more like Santa Claus? Why does he look more like Santa Claus? So you don't really get to see them bond as father and son that much. They've got a couple of moments where they're on the sleigh, they're at the workshop, but like ultimately you don't really see a lot of their father son bonding moments. So it comes off a little disjointed at times. Go ahead, Jen.
Can I say, I don't know if I'm jumping into it too soon, so just stop me if
We're
I
always jumping.
But Charlie like upsets me because I feel like, well, I think there is like how Nick was saying, there's like that detachment and awkwardness because their relationship is so superficial. Like it's not a sincere relationship. And Charlie only thought his dad was super cool when he became Santa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like for no other reason other than that. Otherwise he'd be like, okay, bye, Dad. And like to me, I was like, that's poor form, Charlie. Like, ew. I was getting so irritated by that kid.
I'm really happy that you chose Jingle All the Way before this, just because I think there's some good comparisons as far as, dads and their relationship with their sons, right? Like I guess you could blame the kid a little bit in this movie for like how he responds and reacts, because he's very mature at times, very immature at times, but like you get that because he is a kid. But yeah, like I mean, it's the second he's like, my dad's Santa Claus, his whole world just like, I believe in Santa Claus. Santa Claus is the coolest man in the world, and he's my dad. I love my dad. Like it's such a 180, and it's like, why though? You were dreading this guy literally last night.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like
Santa Claus time.
It's it's almost like Charlie only likes him because like he's famous now, right?
Yeah.
You know, like everybody knows Santa. Well, yeah, my dad's Santa. Like I'm hot shit.
That okay. When we get into
that's what I
when
that
we get
was
into his announcements scene, like that's something to talk about for sure.
But the whole point of me bringing the whole Robin Williams, Tim Allen thing, I just think that Robin Williams would have been a better pick in terms of the relationship building between the kid and the dad. And I fully agree with you, Jen, on that. And I think that Robin Williams would have fixed that kid essentially.
Fix it. This child is broken. Bring me a new one.
We good?
Yes.
Okay. Original title before the Santa Claus. Such a Clatter.
Yeah. The boring title.
Terrible. I don't know. I don't even know how that was an option.
It reminds me of that trend nowadays where it's like one word titles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Klaus.
Yeah. Up. Brave.
I don't know. One word titles
were
all trending in the 90s too.
What was that?
Weren't one word titles like in the 80s and 90s as well?
Big.
Okay, that's one. Keep going.
Heat.
Okay. Those
Volcano.
Those are separate decades. So
I don't know. They're there.
That's my point, right? I mean,
Titanic.
That's 3 syllables.
I don't know. I feel like the one word titles aren't
Jaws
as common,
even though it's 70s.
We're jumping all over decades. Like
Halloween, that's 80s.
Frozen.
They're there. But Disney has, I guess maybe they've always had kind of success with like their one word titles. Pinocchio, Cinderella,
Moana,
Aladdin. Okay, we're done.
I mean, we could go on.
This was filmed during spring of 1994.
Yeah,
which caused a lot of issues, as you can most likely guess. You're doing a Christmas movie. You need snow. There's no snow in 94. Couple of blunders throughout this one.
94? You mean in spring?
There's no snow in 94.
Yeah. A couple of blunders on that one. So, they did their best, but there's definitely some things that stood out.
I caught a couple of snow bloopers.
Oh, I definitely got one, and I'm saving it for later.
Gotcha.
The treadmill scene nearly led to a fight because Tim Allen had to wear this massive suit that weighed about 50 pounds. And apparently it was just doing nothing but like chafing his shoulders. And he was just like, he was a massive Grinch in between sets. Let's just say that.
Don't blame him.
Eric Lloyd had to wear fake teeth. He ended up losing some of his teeth during filming. So they're like, well, that's not going to work. So they popped some fake teeth in him. This is amazing. This is one of the best fun facts I've ever come across. There was once a phone number joke that was an actual sex line in the movie.
Yeah.
So Scott Calvin makes a joke about 1-800-SPANK-ME. Who's this? Well, you're the Santa Claus. You're going to have kids that watch this movie. Kids are curious. They started to dial 1-800-SPANK-ME. It is a live sex line.
Oh.
And parents were getting billed because these kids were calling the sex line. This happened so much that it actually got up to the Disney channel, or to Disney command, and they're like, "Oh, we need to fix this immediately." People are getting really mad.
Oh my god!
Wow,
that's just incredible. Who says kids aren't impressionable?
How long are these kids on the phone for?
I wish I
That's-
knew, but I can only imagine.
Like, how high are these bills? You know?
I think what's even
More importantly, how committed are these operators? You know the
Yeah.
sound of a kid's
Yeah.
voice, right?
Yeah, like what? Why would they stay on the phone, weirdo?
Well, I've got a candy cane
because as
for
long as
you.
they're on the phone, they're getting billed. They don't have to be.
Yeah.
They don't have to say and do all of that stuff.
How do they?
Oh, that's true. It could just be a
Also-
conversation.
The number you dial into is what the charges are pulled from.
Yeah. So we already said that Paige worked with Tim Allen before on Home Improvement. This was Krumholtz's film debut.
Wow.
So coming out of the gates strong for Bernard.
Yeah, that's insane.
Did anyone notice the nod joke to Home Improvement?
Yes.
We got one yes.
Maybe.
We got a maybe. Who wants to take it?
Nick.
Well, I don't remember what the maybe was for, but I just remember thinking like, oh, I think that was a Home Improvement joke. I just don't remember what it was for. I'm serious.
You just remember thinking it. Okay.
Yeah, I just remember the thought. Yeah.
Well, if I may derail with a personal story of what I thought was a Tool Time joke. When he's putting on the Santa pants for the first time, I didn't understand the joke that when he's saying, I hope the guy who lives here is a tailor.
Yeah.
Like somebody who can fix his pants. I thought he was saying is a tailor as in a reference to Tim the Toolman Taylor.
It could be both, honestly. I think it was really well written.
But yes, like for the longest time, I always assumed that was the joke until I realized what a tailor is.
Yeah.
And like, oh, that's what he's actually saying. So that's the fun bit of what I thought was the Tool Time joke. But the real one is when he's in the workshop and he puts the tool belt around his waist and is like, nah, that's not me.
Oh, yes, I do remember that.
There you go. Because he's Tim the Toolman Taylor, tools are his thing, and he just see him shake it off. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want more power?
Which
All
is his
right.
first ho ho ho.
No, that wasn't a ho ho ho. That was a Tim the Toolman grunt.
When he's flying back to, well, doesn't realize he's flying back to the North Pole. His first ho 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 is that grunt.
That grunt too? Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Did Quentin seem familiar to anyone?
Quentin?
Mm-hmm.
Who's Quentin?
Yeah,
Oh,
he has a very small role. He shows up at the end of the movie. He's an elf.
He's on the fancy
Special
sleigh.
elf.
Yeah, he has
But like the
he has
Ghostbuster looking elves?
No, he's
No,
not.
no.
ELFS, but he's probably the guy that built ELFS's stuff.
he has the accent, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did look familiar. Was he in Heavyweights?
No, it's not about looking familiar. It's more about the character seemed kind of familiar.
Oh.
To a certain franchise of
There's
movies.
another reference to it in the movie from Little Judy.
Nothing?
She describes how to make her hot chocolate.
All right.
That is
Quentin,
a big ass clue. I don't know how I'm getting crickets on that one.
That's all right. Quentin is a shout out to Q from the 007 series. The ones that make 007 Gadget. I'm just going to stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot going on.
What?
Quentin is a reference to Cube?
Q.
Q.
Just the letter Q.
Which is from 007?
007. He's the tech guy that upgrades his cars, gives him the watch that'll shoot darts or tase people, or has like a breathing apparatus.
It's just like a specific character that I just don't know.
I mean, how often do you like? How much of
Matt, it's a dead horse. Stop beating it.
Yeah.
Ooh, can't you beat?
It took the last thing. It took 4 to 5 hours of makeup and prosthetics for Santa Claus transformation. That's a lot.
Like
Yeah.
like from to the full transformation, or like even the during.
I mean, like in betweens, all of it. Yeah. That is, I hope they got him in the suit, got him in, whatever they needed, and got as many takes as they could. That way he's not having to sit through that for 4 to 5 hours every day. Like that's grueling.
I just always feel bad for people in the 90s with the fat suits. Like they've gotten better technology now to make those things, but it was miserable.
What you got, Jim?
Oh, I just wanted to say I've never seen a 007 movie. So I really had no clue what
That's
you're
not true. That's not true at all.
Did we watch one?
We went to the movie theaters together, all of us. And we watched The Golden Gun.
Who's all?
Goldeneye. Goldeneye?
Goldeneye.
Yeah, Goldeneye.
Who's all of us?
When we were young. Dad, Pam, you, me.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah,
there.
we definitely did.
Was I watching the movie?
Probably not.
You probably took a nap. Yeah. All right. So does that wrap it up for fun facts?
Yes, it does.
All right. Trying to remember if there was anything that I had. There's a quick cameo from somebody from Home Improvement. Did you catch it? Do you know?
No, I missed it.
So the guy that's in the truck when they're flying the sleigh and they're passing the guy on the road and he's like, so if we head straight down this road.
Oh, yeah.
The guy in the car is one of Tim the Toolman Taylor's buddies, he shows up on the show as like a semi-regular, but he's one of Tim's friends that I think he works or he's always at like the hardware store.
Okay.
Is he the one that's going like this with the steering wheel and that they're
he literally
fly by
says,
with the reindeer?
Yeah, he says no words. He just looks over at him and then they fly by and goes, what?
Yeah. I always love this when they're
they're
going straight in there.
No, there's no need for that. Go ahead, Jen.
I want to share one of the fun facts that I remember that you didn't mention. And it was like the possible Charlie. Does anyone remember?
Was it JTT?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then they didn't want, like Disney was like, I don't know, because of Home Improvement. So they're like, that might be too much of a connection.
Yeah, it's a little too on the nose.
Yeah, understandable. But I think that would have been, that the chemistry would definitely have been.
Oh, it would have been there for sure.
For sure.
It'd be an interesting cast. There was something that I had read that I wanted to bring up, but I can't remember what it is right now. So I don't think I'm gonna. But
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because you brought up JTT. We have, was it Eric Lloyd in this one?
Mm-hmm.
Did he not have like the same kind of career like after this, like compared to JTT or like Macaulay Culkin, whatever?
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin. He's only one Macaulay. No, I don't. I think. I mean, we can look at his credits.
I'm looking it up right now.
I don't think he's done much. Like I think I would probably guess that the Santa Claus series is his biggest movies.
Yeah, it looks like the Santa Claus 2. 42 episodes of Jesse.
Okay.
1998 to 2000.
Ooh.
He's in the Santa Clauses for one episode. Did one episode in ER. He did one episode of Rocket Power.
Oh.
And yeah, nothing's really jumping out. The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars.
Who is he in Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars?
Blanky.
I knew it. Because Blanky's like a kid.
Yeah. Well, he's got like that very like voice that it's very recognizable.
Word to Santa. See, we can laugh.
Oh, he was in the Wonder Years for one episode. He was young Kevin Arnold.
I was gonna say, like, I could see him as like a young, is it Fred Savage?
Yeah.
I could see him as being related to Fred Savage.
Yeah, that's about it. Nothing's really jumping out at me.
Yeah, it was funny. You brought up the mom, like, called her American posh. One, she wishes. Two, I really did not like her hairstyle in this movie. I think in the second one when she's got like the long hair, I'm like, see, now that's a good look for you. Like I thought she looked so much better with the long hair.
Yeah.
I did not. This is such a 90s haircut though.
It really is.
Bob and weave or whatever.
This bob, yeah, that's straight up. Like that's
didn't what's her name? From Mrs. Doubtfire, Sally Fields from Mrs. Doubtfire, didn't she have the same hairstyle?
I don't think so. I think her hair was a bit longer. It
was
was
a little longer. Okay,
but I don't like. What's the mom's name in this?
Laura.
She had like the sharp cut, like
yeah. Oh yeah,
sharp.
Like, hang it here.
Yeah, I don't think it was as extreme with the mom and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It's not the haircut I have a problem with. It's just I just don't think it suited her. I don't know. I'm just being a little judgy, but
that's all right.
So did we? I can't remember. Before we leave for break, do we drop a hint of what our movie or our? No, it's the first thing we do when we come back. It's like, what's? I don't know what the hell
you're wrong, man.
I'm not looking at Brian anymore. He's just shaking his balls around.
His ball.
Yeah.
Just shaking my Neil Armstrong over here.
Oh man. He's touching me.
I'm not touching it.
Welcome
Boys.
to GoodFlickas, home of the GoodFlickas.
Don't make me turn the sleigh around.
He's touching me. Welcome back to GoodFlickas.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun one.
And also, it did not snow in 1994.
Not the entire year. It was horrible.
We learn a lot here, guys.
That has to be one of my favorite like GoodFlickas quotes of all time.
Listen, we do this live. Mess ups are gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh, they happen all of the time. We are about to dive into the best part of the Santa Claus, the beginning, because what better place to start? I have notes. Because I want to make sure that I didn't mess this one up too much. But so actually, let's get into the title drop real fast, because it kind of starts off with it's this holiday party. We're walking through, we're doing our whole thing. But you've brought it up a couple times, Nick, the title drop. We've brought it up a few times. I paid attention to it this time. I don't remember it having the title change where like it starts off in the typewriter font and then it magically changes to the Santa Claus font.
I'll be honest, I don't remember much
See?
from the title drop. I think it was the very first thing that happened.
It's pretty early on.
Yeah.
The first thing that happens is essentially you see Santa's boots as he walks out of an office.
Yeah. I don't have more to comment.
Okay. Anyway, well, it's a nice little dolly shot. They're not a dolly. Well, it's a crane shot, I think, technically. It's a nice little shot that they've got. You get your intro to the toy making people, and we meet Scott Calvin, who is kind of a confident salesman. And then I'm considering the intro basically everything right up until he actually connects with Laura and Charlie. Unless we want to consider that first scene where the handoff is happening, the first scene. But I'm pretty much going with like the party and the drive.
Yeah.
So the party's kind of whatever. I think it does a nice job of introducing the character and where he's coming from. I really enjoy his drive home where he's calling him like, oh yeah, like pretending there's traffic and screaming, same to you. That's not real lady. Like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Hilarious to me. So yeah, like that's a lot of fun for me, but it's kind of a
cut and dry.
Yeah, there's nothing real fancy schmancy about this. Oh, I remembered what the fact was that I wanted to say that changes a lot of this movie for me, and the intro is kind of part of it actually. So this originally was not going to be released under the Disney title. It was going to be like Hollywood Productions or something, which is another production company that Disney owns. But because of test audiences, positive feedback, they're like, okay, well, we'll take it. I think because this movie was probably made without the, like, it's not going to be Disney in mind. It's a little bit darker. It's a little bit drier. Like, it's not really Disney. And I think that's why when the sequels roll around, they're like, okay, now it's Disney. Let's Disneyfy it. Let's get bright colors. Because, I mean, one thing I was surprised about every time I watch this is like seeing how dull it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not a bright Christmas movie. I mean, it's not like it's gray, but it's not really bright. It feels like your other Disney, like not Disney, your other Christmas movies that
are like Fox or Paramount.
Yeah, it felt a little bit different. And I think it's because it was originally going to be released under a different production company. So they're like, okay, well, we can get away with it not being Disney. But because of their foreseen success, they're like, well, you know what? We'll take it back. It's going to be good. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I was a little thrown off at the end when I saw that this was a Disney production.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you're right, like this doesn't feel like a Disney movie.
Yeah,
like it feels very much like just like a kids movie. I don't know if that if that rings an idea of what that means, but it doesn't have that magic, like that Disney magic to it.
Yes. Well, it's like it's actually, I think Fox is probably the best way to describe it. Like, you guys remember The Sandlot growing up? Like those kids movies that weren't Disney. They're like, they weren't dull. They weren't sad. They weren't depressing. They just weren't as bright. They weren't as colorful as Disney.
Stand by Me.
What was that?
Stand by Me.
Stand by Me. I mean, that's a completely different thing, but still, it's like it just kind of has that like a faded tone to it, and
it doesn't have that Disney pop.
Oh, the Little Rascals.
Yes, that's a great one.
That's the example you're looking for.
That's a great one. Yes. So like, you know, like it's not a dull movie. It's not a dark movie or anything, but it's just not as bright. It's just not as colorful. And that's how this movie feels. And it starts off that way. I mean, look at this Christmas party. The whole building is pretty much gray. Most of the people are wearing black with splashes of red. Like it's not bright. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, just a couple notes that I had for the intro. First and foremost, when you start me off right in a company office building like that, I just go Die Hard vibes immediately. And that's really what it felt like. I'm like, okay, are we just going to open up a door and see a little bit of a extracurricular activity going on? Like it just really felt like Die Hard vibes. However, I also will say, you drop Carol the Bells that early in a movie, you have my attention. Hands down. Carol the Bells is one of my favorite Christmas songs of all time. And it's not even, we're less than 3 minutes, and I've got Carol the Bells going while he's trying to drive home frantically. I'm in. I'm hooked. Where's this movie going? You already have me. That's all I need. I've got some maniac that's pretending he's in traffic when he's just completely in an empty zone. And I've got Carol the Bells just glaring in the background. That's it. We're good. That's all you need from me. I'm kind of an easy sell on that. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I'm right there with you. Like, I love this acapella version. Like it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where if you just listen to this song, it sounds incredible. And
it's like Home Alone did the same thing where I'm just like, God, man, you guys just crushed this song.
Yes. And I love how they start this one off where it's like, okay, here's some carolers just outside.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of moves away from them, but it keeps the song and it gets more and more powerful.
Exactly.
And the part that lives rent free in my head, it's not technically like the first thing that I think of, but when I was watching the movie this go around, I immediately jumped to the end of it because I ding dong ding that part.
Yes.
Hearing it exactly how they do it in that rhythm, like and that, all of that, like I said, it lives rent free anytime that song comes
And
up.
it ends right on directed by. I mean, it is so perfectly timed because like the minute the song ends, knock knock or like he gets to the we're at the front door and everything, and I'm like, well done, guys. I mean, you're gonna use the song, you used it perfectly, and you used it well. So I just couldn't ask for anything better.
And I think they do a great job too of while he's driving without really building much character or story. They really set the tone for Christmas. You know, you're seeing him drive through the town. You're seeing the houses with the lights on, all the snow, the kids looking at the toys. They even sneak in an elf, you know, which this is the start of it. But did you guys notice all of the elves throughout this movie?
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
This is your first time seeing.
What do you mean?
There are numerous times where Scott and Charlie are in real world and there are elves sprinkled throughout. It's subtle enough that if you're not paying attention, you will miss it. But once you notice it, you will not notice it.
Yep.
I can only think of seeing elves when they were at the North Pole.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you definitely missed it.
The opening, so the opening sequence, there is a little female elf who is staring at the window through the kids, and she very clearly turns her head. You see her pointed ear, no mistaking about it, as she leaves the group.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't catch that.
There's elves in the classroom.
That's the one that really gets me. He's literally sitting behind Charlie.
Yep.
Right behind Charlie is an elf.
He's the only one that doesn't laugh when Santa Claus is mentioned.
I didn't notice that guy.
He's the weird kid sitting there with the perfect posture.
Yep.
but what's so strange to me is at no point they don't hide the ears.
No, they don't.
They do not hide their ears. And I don't know if that's just to make it like so that we know that they're elves, but I don't know, maybe there's some magic that things miss, or people will just like, well, you can't say anything. The poor kid's got pointed ears. You know, like but yeah, there's tons of them sprinkled throughout.
I'm sure if I watch this movie again, I'll definitely now look for them.
Yeah.
I think that should be part of the Santa Claus drinking game. Anytime you spot an elf in real life, you take a drink.
Perfect.
And then you do the Santa hat thing too, where you put it on the corner of the TV, and every time it lines up with somebody's head, you take a drink. Have you ever done that?
Well, I've never.
No, I've never done that.
It's you put you just put a hat. It doesn't have to be a Santa hat, but you put a hat on the corner of the TV, and anytime it lines up with somebody on screen to where it looks like they're wearing the hat, you take a drink.
Oh,
that's perfect.
That's so fun.
And look up that, like, when you guys get a chance, Google it, look up some examples, because there's some moments where you're like, oh shit, that really does line up so perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more on intro if you guys don't want to harp on it too long. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, yeah. But memories.
Yeah, so I want to bend the rules a little bit here. For me, I'll be honest, it depends on what day it is.
Yeah.
I have 3 cycling memories that pop to my head when it comes to if someone mentions the Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to share all 3. If you guys have multiple memories, let's hear them all. Anyway, just wanted to start with that. But who wants to go first?
I've got multiple memories as well. So
perfect.
I mean, I've got the first one that came to my mind.
Yeah,
excellent.
It's I can't remember how many, but I think there was 6 Santas, like the photo lineup scene. That got me so good.
All right.
It's just perfectly like well done.
Yeah.
And like I love that they were like all different heights and different skin colors and different like
And none of them were even close to, even resembled Scott Calvin, like not even a little.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. So, and it's like 3 seconds. Like, it's not even that long of a clip, but it got me. It was so good. But
sorry, just like on that, the part that gets me with it is they're telling the guys to turn a certain direction. And there's a delay of like, hello, and then they turn. And I think a couple of them turn the wrong way.
Yes, one of them does.
At least one, but he doesn't correct himself. It's like he's now staring face
He's committed
to somebody, but he's like, no, this guy's wrong.
I know my right.
I know my rights.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
So good.
Yeah, that
all right.
There's some fun bits because that's actually the ZZ Top moment. It's like spliced in with looking for Santa Claus while because they're arresting just Santa Clauses on the street, which is so weird.
Yeah.
Could you
Dude, I'm sorry. A lot of scarred children in this neighborhood. A lot of scarred children. It's gonna be a tough comeback.
Could you imagine being the cops that have to be told? I mean, they even show us like the whole briefing of it. It's like he's probably going to be dressed like Santa Claus.
The drawing was like a pencil sketch of Santa Claus.
It's so good, but it's like how you're telling the police, like, yes, it's Christmas time, and your enemy is Santa Claus.
Right.
Kind of looks like Santa.
Yeah. Well, like how does that make you feel? Like I feel so bad for all of the cops in this movie, especially the ones when like they actually are arresting Scott. And like you have to be the cop that is shoving Santa in the back of a cop car. Like I would hate my life. I was like, okay, I'm quitting the force. This is not why I joined to arrest Santa Claus.
They've probably seen some weirder shit though.
I know, but like to make an entire neighborhood of children cry because you're arresting Santa Claus. Oh God, that's just a bad feeling. Go ahead, Brian.
I've always felt that they missed the most comedic mark they could have hit for when they were trying to basically go for all the Santa Clauses. The number one Santa Claus that everybody sees, everybody knows, are the ones with the bells in front of grocery stores for the Salvation Army. And if they would have just done that one scene where they swoop up on one of them and arrest them for shaking the damn bell.
Drop your weapon. Drop the bell.
See, at that point, it's profiling. Like, that's a problem. Like, what's suspicious about a guy ringing a bell at this time? Like you said, they're
He's
all
in a Santa suit. He checks the boxes.
he's ringing a
Salvation
Salvation Army cowbell. Get him!
Get him!
He's clearly a fake. That is a cowbell.
He's collecting money. He's making his bail.
I don't know why, but I feel like I'd be a bit more receptive if they did have a cowbell instead of the actual
like
bell.
Jingle bell.
Yeah, whatever. It's a bell.
Bell, yeah.
But like,
Tom, come and get it.
Yeah, I bet clunk, 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 clunk. Like he had the freaking cowbell. I'm like, oh my God, yes.
Oh, that's
I
great.
have no change, but take it.
All right. Jen, do you have a memory, two memories, however many?
Yeah, so I have a quote and then a scene.
Perfect.
Ooh,
So what do I share first?
both.
It's your memory.
Both at the same
Both
time?
at the same time.
Okay. So the quote, I mean, I use this for so many things, is like, have you ever seen $1 million? No. Well, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
cool. That's super cool. And it's funny is like, I didn't realize that I had heard it from something. And so for a long time I always claimed it's like, I'm just so skilled. Like I came up with that. Like we watched the Santa Claus. I was like, I didn't come up with that. So now I say, okay, it was from the Santa Claus, so I love that quote. And then the scene for me always is like run, run, reindeer. And you see the reindeer following him, and then the guy in the background's like trying to catch them. It's so funny.
Yeah.
That is a fun one.
I've always thought it was kind of strange though that Scott and Charlie are going this way and the reindeer are actually trailing behind him. When if you think about like a sleigh, they're the ones that are supposed to be in the back. So, but then you'd have to have Scott see the reindeer. So I get the struggle that they were going with there.
But also, it's like he's trying to like remember, right?
Exactly.
So he's not there yet. He's not the leader yet. So the reindeer are like, well, I think we gotta go with this guy.
Yeah.
Everyone's just confused at this point. But what always kills me is seeing the guy in the background, like, hey, wait.
Just chasing him down.
And arms flailing and everything.
Oh.
Matt, you still need some time to think, or
I've got so many going through my head right now, but like the one that I'm locking myself into, it's a quote, and I remember Josh and I would use it like it was one of those, it's a random quote that we would use that had never really had or needed context when we would use it. It was just kind of like a silly thing to say. Oppo Gijo.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That is a moment. So do you remember this?
I think so.
It's when they've got Scott Calvin in police holdup and they're asking
interrogation
name, and he's supposed to say Scott Calvin, but instead he keeps saying all different versions of Santa Claus. Santa Claus.
Yes.
Kringle. Tia Noel.
Oppo
Gijo.
I do remember that, but I don't. Are those like different languages?
Yes, he does. Okay. He does go into different cultures. Although Popo Gijo, I think
it's Topo.
Is it Topo?
I think it's Topo Gijo, and it's a reference to, oh my God.
Not actually a Santa Claus thing is the funny part.
It's a reference to a TV show. Give me one sec.
I know there's like...
It's a TV character. No,
that's a different creature. That's
like evil Santa or something.
Essentially, he punishes the bad children.
Oh, here we go. It was a TV character that was on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Okay, and it's Topo Gijo.
Topo Gijo, yes. Okay. Topogigio.
Gotcha.
And
I like a little funnier.
Well, it's just the way he says it. That's how we always heard it.
Yeah, this is definitely a show I have not seen, but I mean, it's in the early 1960s.
You know, he did live through the 60s.
Yeah, yes, he did. Anyway, so that's your answer there.
That's one of them for sure. Like you said, any given day, it's a different thing that sparks.
Yeah. Mine are two quotes and I can't really call it a scene. I'll call it a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go with quote number one is, but what do I do if I fall off a roof?
Yeah.
That one just, it's like you said, it's living in my head rent free. And then the other one is, let him go. Let Santa go.
Don't worry, kids. Santa's going to be okay.
That one. And then the moment is when, oh man, this is like, it just brings me back to when you're kids and you just try to be super creative and do whatever. But it's when Charlie has basically taken, it seems to be every piece of furniture in his house and has creatively made himself a sled with reindeer, and that's his way of practicing. So, but what's even the kicker of this is you've got the chipmunks, Here Comes Santa Claus in the background. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that one is just, it's those three that are just, it depends on what day you get me, but that is going to be what pops to my head. And they're all just great quotes and great moment.
There's so many great moments.
And so smart to use chairs to indicate rain. Dude, I'm stealing that for when I have kids. It's like we're building a Santa sleigh. It's going to be legit.
Better have an 8-chair dining table to.
I will borrow from neighbors. Can I take this just for a sec? And then the kids are gonna be like, "Why don't they match? We're diverse."
Yeah, I was like, you can't have one chair that doesn't look like the other 7 chairs.
Anyway,
half and half.
so those are my Santa Claus memories.
Yeah. They're all racking through my brain right now. There's so many. Yeah, good ones. But did
I
we
think Jen had a.
Oh, I see Jen's. Yes. Go ahead, Jen.
I did have a head scratcher for Cheeky's scene.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if anyone's going to be able to answer this, but do we know why his sign says North Pole South?
No.
Anybody know?
I've always wondered. I'm like,
why is South involved?
do you need some help with your? Maybe he wrote South to be like, okay, North needs to be on top of South.
Maybe, but I never understood that.
I never understood it either.
When was this?
It's on his door.
On his door, when the mom's entering, he has a sign.
Yes.
And it says,
"Oh,
North Pole South."
South.
And there's a photo of a drawing of the North Pole. It's so confusing. I'm like, why?
And it has like the pole that he sees.
The red and white.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
interesting. I don't.
You've never noticed this, Matt?
No, this is on Charlie's door.
Yeah, it's on Charlie's door.
It drives me.
I'm sure you can pull it up on Google Image.
I'm working on that now, but
oh man, that's so funny.
It drives me nuts. I'm like,
I have no answer for it, but I've always wondered that too. I'm like, so we need to work on our geography. Got it.
I was like, the only thing I was like, well, okay, technically, like a year is going by here, so maybe it's summertime and he's confused about the weather. I have no idea, but it
I don't
drives
either.
me crazy. I'm all for making the reindeer sled. You nailed it, but we need to tear apart that sign and fix it.
I'll be honest. I'm getting some scenes mixed up in my head because I rewatched Elf a couple of days before I watched this movie, and I'm getting my North Poles mixed up.
Yeah. I mean, this is a perfect transition. Let's just start talking about it. The North Pole in the Santa Claus is nowhere near just Elf and North Pole, just completely different playgrounds here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the North Pole of the Santa Claus is what probably every little kid imagines, hands down. I mean, from the start of like the hidden pole, and it just comes out of the ground. It's got the shiny glass on top, and then they make it all like high tech with the buttons and everything. But the part that gets me every time is, first of all, the music. The music that's playing is like dun 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 dun. It's freaking stunning. But as it's going down, you can see like the underneath the ice and how gorgeous it is, and then it just lowers, and it's just like, welcome to the North Pole, where you've got the sleigh is just centered on top, and it's just everyone just doing their thing. You've got like different worlds going on, and man, whoever did that, what a phenomenal job on the set and the costumes, and it just looks so real. I know, Jen, you had some things about it. Did you want to add anything?
Just that it's stunning, like that North Pole. I mean, I'm sure costumes are cool too, but the North Pole that they did it's just so beautiful. And like I said, I've never seen a North Pole like it.
No,
like they truly nailed it. Like when I was a kid, that's probably how I am. Not even, I probably couldn't envision that.
Yeah.
Like that's real. Like it was just.
That's what it is. Like,
yeah, like
it's like most North Poles are almost like gingerbread style, like, I envision like some of them like
or like a little cottage. Like it's
yeah,
so
or like do you guys remember Nightmare Before Christmas?
yeah.
And like they're like the Christmas town, and it just looks like kind of cartoony-ish, or even Elf. It was like, what, you just put up a shed? You know, it didn't have that like, this is an actual city that elves live in feel. And this one, you're just like, they're underground. They are so secluded from the top of the snow and everything, and it is just, it's like a kid's fantasy, really. You know, you got like ballrooms, and then like the little tiny bakers were doing their thing up on the top ledge, and dolls and little toys, and oh man, just in really good stuff.
That, and even like when Judy's giving him the hot cocoa, just like that shot outside the window. Even that was super cool.
Yeah.
I just, to me, it was like what I would imagine a toy factory to be.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a big, I don't know, just like a big, like spacious, where like any toy that you could imagine, it's made here. You know, like that. It gives me that feeling.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like the the North Pole like toy factory and Elf like definitely does. I think you explained it perfectly. Like, yeah, you just put up a shed box.
Yeah.
Poles. Call it that the North Pole.
And put a little holly around it. That's it.
Yeah.
But just like I remember in this movie, it was like this circular room, and like in this room, it was like big doors to like different sections, and
yeah.
And then my imagination would just go wild of thinking like, oh, if I went through this like one door, like it's like there could be an even bigger room, like from
yes, like where does that lead me to?
Exactly, like you could get lost in it.
Yeah.
And I like the colors in it, like the blues and golds. It was almost like being in a Christmas palace.
Yes. And like God, the ice gets me every time. The ice gets me every time.
Ice.
When the first thing, it's like starting to lower, and you're still on the outside, and then it cuts you to the inside, but the camera's facing up as it's lowering, and you just see a ceiling of ice with the moving glacier of ice, and just how like shimmery and shiny and innocent almost is what it looks. And you're like, well, I'm in a different world now. Yeah. And it's so well done.
I didn't really pay attention to the ice around that, like when they were entering, basically.
Dude, you got to. If anyone hasn't, you have to.
I really like what they did with it. It's one of those things where I feel like the sequel's improved on it. It again, this is another example where I feel like if they had been given that full Disney permission, they would have gone wild. Because I like they had all the random rooms and stuff for like specific things. You've got that one spot where like you've got the train that's going around, but you can look down the middle and see everything. Like I loved how big the workshop felt. Yeah, but I don't know. It felt I wanted more. You know, like I wanted it to feel really like crazy. Like there are tons of toys everywhere. It felt too organized. It just felt too clean. But that was me thinking like if I'm at the North Pole, I expect that like they are trying to build so many toys, like it's absolute chaos.
It's just overwhelming.
Exactly. Like there's things happening all the time everywhere. And it's just it's bonkers. That's what
we're over here praising how good it is, and Matt's like, "Give me the Amazon workshop.
I want more." I love it. I want more. I just wanted more, but it's so great. I loved like you guys are saying with the colors and stuff. Like there are so many bits where it felt like you were in like a freaking candy palace or something. Like it's like That's made out of licorice. That's made out of.
I totally got a
Really
little
want
bit of
that?
Yeah.
I got a little bit of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibes on
Yeah.
especially the doors where like the ballroom and everything. I'm like, I'm thinking Charlie and the Chocolate Factory might have taken a few ideas here.
No, I do agree, Matt. I would have liked to have seen like just like stacks and like towers and hills of toys.
Right.
It's kind of like all, not perfectly, all next to each other, all nice and neat, but just kind of like a big mound of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What in there's that moment in the workshop where it's Scott is saying that what if he chooses not to believe in Santa Claus, and the entire workshop is like but they cut to the elf that is clearly a baby that they made to look like an elf. It's like all sad. I'm like, one, it's brilliant to make that character a baby who already looks sad for this moment. But the fact that they made it canon of like, yes, that's just what young elves look like, or maybe that's just what really old elves look like. But I thought it was a brilliant and creative way of like using a baby as an elf. And plus it's just like it's adorable and sad because it's just like this baby elf is like, why don't you want to be Santa?
Hurting my feelings.
And then you get you wouldn't want to be responsible for killing the spirit of Christmas, would you? I'm like, oh Bernard.
I wrote it down. I'm like, Bernard is a hard ass.
Yeah. Actually, well, we were just talking about the intro or the entrance to the North Pole. Did anyone notice Bernard's stare down? It's the first time we see Bernard as they're lowering, and he's just like literally the jaws of the North Pole is just cruising in a circle, and I'm like, oh boy, it's such a great character intro, especially when you've seen it already and then you know how Bernard is, and then you rewatch it and you're like, there goes Bernard.
Well, I'm curious because there's a moment when you first see Bernard that he actually has kind of like a smile on his face. I think at a certain point, as they're lowering Scott down, he realizes it's a different Santa.
Yeah.
And that's when his mood changes.
Or I feel like he already knew about the change though, because he was prepared to walk him through as to what he just signed up for.
No, very true.
Yeah. I think he just was sizing up almost. Like he doesn't know what he's getting. He just knows he's getting a new Santa.
Yeah. Which is another reason I'm really curious about the show of like, so are we jumping into the scene? Like just going.
Oh, we're everywhere. Let's go.
Cool. So when Bernard pulls out the contract, he pulls out the card and he's explaining, is like, reading it to him, all that kind of stuff. Like
he's fine for it.
Well, yes. Oh my God. But it's the last thing of what he says of you will perform the duties of Santa Claus until you are no longer able, either by natural disaster or design or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's that by design part that makes me really question a lot, because like you said, Bernard knew it was like the other guy disappeared, right? Like, did they pick Scott Calvin, plan all of this to go down, and that's what happened? Was it by design? Or, like, was it true chance that it just happens to be Scott Calvin, or was there an actual plan to this? Because I think one of the weirdest things is that Santa, before he disappears, waves goodbye.
Mm.
Go ahead, Nick.
So I'm really glad we're bringing this up, because I was really questioning kind of the lore with the whole Santa thing. I kind of lean on the idea that whoever becomes the next Santa is sort of like the chosen, right? Like it's almost like Santa will target somebody who needs to become Santa, right? To try to build their relationship with their son or just with their kids again, and them becoming Santa is like the outlet that they acquire to do that. So I like to think that that's what the lore is that you're essentially the next chosen one. Yeah, go ahead.
That's kind of how I would like to think of it too. I can't remember. There's another Santa story where it's kind of like this of like you were meant to be. Actually, I think like Noel, we did Noel. That's kind of a thing too, where it's your brother's supposed to be the next heir, but he's not really made to be Santa. You were made to be Santa. Like, kind of like you were meant to take the reins. But in this one too, like that's why I'm really curious about the show. The season 1 is about him picking the next Santa Claus. Obviously it's not figuring out like, okay, I'm going to fall off the roof. This guy's going to become, or maybe it is. And I don't know the process, but it does make me feel like at a certain point, I don't know if it's age because it's not really made clear how Santa Claus ages in the Santa Claus universe. Especially since he's instantly made white haired and fat.
Yeah.
So don't know how he actually ages. But you would imagine at a certain point these guys would be kind of like, yeah, like it's just I don't think I can keep up with the times, or I'm just tired. It's like it's time to pass this on, not move on, but like pass it on. And that's when I would think you would try and find somebody. And like you said, you try and find somebody that
like needs it.
Well, and they go on to say that Scott is supposedly the best Santa they've ever had, right? Like he is so made for the position that like he's the best. And I would think that you wouldn't luck into that, right? Like you find somebody who has the potential to be a great Santa because he has all of those attributes, right? Of being caring and loving and creative and nurturing and everything that makes up Santa. So I don't know. It feels like it's too big of a thing to leave up to chance.
Another thing, maybe just to add to this, is that Scott Calvin was somebody who didn't believe in Santa, right? Like he wasn't the type to really get involved in that kind of stuff. And so I guess it was kind of like a breakthrough, I guess, or like a not like coming of age, but like a turnaround, a character arc, whatever you want to call it, that he essentially was chosen to kind of fix his kind of shitty personality of believing, and not being so stubborn and ruining the imagination for kids. And
well, it's interesting to compare Scott and Charlie at the beginning, right? Charlie is seen as the non-believer who is a child, and you've got Scott who is claiming to be a believer and is an adult. And very quickly, and even after spending an entire night as Santa Claus, right? Like for Charlie, him being able to have seen is what allowed him to believe. But for I guess the whole seeing is believing, kind of the believing is seeing thing is like, that's what it really comes down to for Scott, is that it's him finding that belief, right? Like it's Charlie very quickly finds that belief because he sees it, he gets to experience it, and he falls deeply into Santa Claus. From a kid who was a non-believer to Santa is the greatest guy ever, he falls quick. And it's definitely harder for an adult to kind of have that kind of switch, right? Even after seeing it. But go ahead.
So here he brought up something that I was questioning, because at the very beginning when Charlie's being dropped off to his dad, from his mom and Neil, they have the whole conversation about Charlie not believing in Santa because he was, he's 6 years old. He was kind of told straightforward about the reality, and Neil, because Neil is like that. He just tells it like it is or whatever.
Psychiatrist, am I right?
Yeah, doctor, am I right? But Scott was the one that was like, who told Charlie that Santa's not real, right? So that led me to believe that, oh, okay, like, that Charlie is like the one who is like, into the Christmas spirit, like still doesn't matter what age you are, like you believe in Santa, all that kind of stuff. Or at least you just like appreciate it, even if no, he's not real, but you still like do it for the kids.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Scott flip flops.
Oh, you mean to non-believing?
Yeah, he goes from like like Santa's real and everything to Charlie, and then he flip flops and being like, he's not real. Oh, this is I don't know. It's just he flip flops. But then like I agree with you when you say that Charlie's the one that like he experiences Santa coming to life, so that's why he begins to believe. He's still a kid. Like kids are meant to have imaginations and believe things. I just don't understand why Scott Calvin was the one that switched from being, telling kids that Santa's real to not.
Well, I think the bigger transition though is like to go from believer to non-believer after being Santa Claus for the entire night. Like that is a long dream to convince yourself of. That is a long delusion to treat yourself and far too detailed. Like, and he enjoyed himself. This is actually something I wish that they kind of expanded on. I know we're really jumping around and loving it, but that first night of riding around with Charlie, like that was clearly a bonding moment for the two of them, but we don't really get to see much of it. And like it's kind of quickly brushed over. We have a couple of houses where here's the struggle, and then it's like, okay, everything's great, and we're done at sunrise. Like it happens really fast. But the two of them bonded. Like, I mean, Charlie is locked in. Like, I mean, this was a kid who wanted to go home immediately the next day. This was a kid who didn't want to leave in the first place. And now he is tight with his dad. They're smiling, they're laughing, they're having a good time. They're having this adventure together. Like that should have been a bigger moment. And then it leads to him being so convinced, like, yep, none of this is real. It's just fake. Like this didn't happen. It's like, but that was such a good moment for the two of you. Why wouldn't you want to believe that at least? So I don't know. I feel like for both of them that transition from belief to non-belief or vice versa, it happens very quickly, and there's no real rationale. It just is because they say it is.
And then that goes on for like an hour.
Yeah. Well, for an entire year, Scott is convincing himself that like I'm not Santa Claus. I'm not Santa Claus. You just dyed your hair, shaved your face, and watched it all grow back and change.
It was like it was almost like Teen Wolf.
He's faster than Teen Wolf, man. So like, I mean, I don't know. At what point do you think Scott is just like, how, dude, like, how are you still convincing yourself that this didn't happen?
Maybe we needed like a Papa Santa to like reassure him.
Papa. Papa Santa,
like the god.
Papa Santa dropped a business card and said, "Peace, I'm out." The reindeer will know what to do. What kind of instructions is that?
God, that's a great scene. The like find the small print on the business card. Oh man.
Go ahead, Jen.
For what you guys are saying, I think the main reason why Scott didn't want to believe, I think he believed, like in all his heart he believed, but he was so worried about what other people would think of him that he was playing, like he was just in denial of it. That's what I got from it, because it was all fine up until Laura and Neil found out what was going on, and he was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna be, or when he shared it in the classroom, he's like, oh no, like let's not be telling people this. Like it was all because of their reaction.
Yeah, Brian.
Well, Jen's just bringing up a scene that I wrote down. I titled it "I'm Not North Poling Your Leg," and all right.
Scratch what you got there.
A stretch, come on.
Yeah, I know. It was just
And I wrote it down because I just really liked this this little sequence where they just got back and Charlie is like on cloud nine, and Scott was feeling pretty good himself. He was a little, groggy, kind of like I almost feel hungover. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I feel like something happened, but what a dream, right? Like what a ride. And Charlie is just like, last night was by far the greatest night of my life. There's no way I can ever top that. I was with my dad, who turned into Santa Claus, who also went to the North Pole. I saw Judy, she gave me hot chocolate. Best day ever. like, right? And so then what I love about this scene, though, is Charlie is just like bing, 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 like just back and forth telling his mom the exact truth of what happened. And you can just see Laura's face going from like, oh, like, and it's just like way to keep his spirit alive. But she's like, this sounds almost too descriptive. Like, what the hell happened in this house? And then Neil gets involved and he's already second guessing it. And that's when you start to see Scott kind of second guess himself. And that's when the yarn starts to unravel. But it's so interesting just to see that. And then it like double downs when it's career day. Question, why are they in school? Do we not hear winter break? Is that not a thing in this? Is it Christmas? Get your asses back to school. Like, how does this work? Anyway, but they have career day in like end of December. And Charlie once again is, my dad's Santa Claus, and just the whole, and this is where I was talking about in the top of the show, where they do such a fantastic job binding these two worlds together of basically Santa Claus, North Pole, the real world, and you get legit reactions where people are like, the kids are making fun of him and everyone's making fun, like no one believes him. It's like he's like the biggest joke of the town at this point, when deep down they know exactly what they went through and that everything they're saying is the truth. And this cannot have been an easy balance to hit. And I think they did a great job with it. Go ahead, Matt.
Just because I can't keep up with all of the thoughts, I'm going to go with the last one. No. It's all good. But like you said with him kind of, it was the last thing you said about sorry, I can't remember what it was that triggered it, but it got me thinking about like when he's
Charlie?
What was it?
Was it Charlie or
no, Scott?
Scott.
But it got me thinking about him when like he's kind of, he's got the list. He's kind of reached the point of like it's acceptance but not acceptance, right? Like he's walking around town, he's very depressed, he's got his hands are in his pockets, his head's down, and he's like Johnny good, Danny nah, like he's doing all of this, but like it feels like an obligation to him. It feels forced, or like just that. It's something I wish they'd kind of dug into a little bit more with him as a character. Of it's bad enough that he's being forced away from his kid because Charlie is obsessed with Santa Claus now, and Scott is doing everything to look like Santa Claus, which is completely out of his control, because we as the audience know it is true. He is Santa Claus. And like you're saying, that balance of real world and the magic of Christmas, it's something I wish that they would have dug a little bit deeper into, of like from a character standpoint. Because I agree with you. I mean, absolutely, your child is obsessed with Santa Claus. You're dressing up like him. You look like him. You've got other kids lining up to sit on your lap and tell you what they want for Christmas. Like, what is wrong with you? You were a crazy person I cannot have you around my child. You were unsafe. But what does that do from Scott's side? You know, like we just see it. We just see him being ridiculed and told you're feeding into this delusion. You're a crazy person. You've got to stop. And it's like, he doesn't say anything though. He doesn't fight back. I am Santa Claus. You know, it's not until the very last moment that he is like, no, I am Santa Claus. And that's when the whole tone changes. It becomes a Christmas movie after that. Go ahead, Brian.
You brought up one of my nitpicks. Going after visitation rights.
Oh.
Line you. I mean, that is so crossing the line. I think it's a overstretch and an overstep by at least times 10. I can get that you have your concerns and everything, but we're going to court. We're taking this to the judge, and we're trying to strip his rights for visitation. That's rough. That to me, that's a little harsh. I think it was John.
So this was the first time watching this that I noticed that was Neil's idea. And like, he was so manipulative over it too. And I was like, I don't like that. I never caught that in all the times that I've watched this movie. Like, he really pushed Laura into it. It's like, well, we don't have any other way. And it was very much like in a controlling way rather than like in a I'm here to support and try and fix things way. Like, Neil had just
Dude, Neil was creepy vibes.
Yeah, and he had like this evil plan of like getting Laura and Charlie to be with him. Or at least that's the vibes that I got.
Right.
You guys are making it seem like Neil is like this dark, sinister guy.
Yeah, he's
but
creepy.
What sick fuck wants a weenie whistle?
Judge Reinhold.
Let's start with that.
The same guy who wears those crazy sweaters and chooses to.
Dude, Neil is he's a born to be serial killer. I'm calling it.
But it's interesting though, right? Because he is the psychiatrist, and he really like leans into this idea that it's a delusion. It is a mental manipulation on Charlie, right? But what is it that he's trying to do this whole time of like, this kid is telling you, I believe in something. I choose to believe in this, and it doesn't matter whether you say it does or not. I believe in it. And is so locked into this fight that like, I have to explain, I have to prove to this kid, get him to admit that it's not real, that I will push this family to the brink. Now, granted, it was already on Rocky's, shores to begin with. They didn't get along as a family dynamic, but yeah, that's an aggressive move to be like,
yeah, it's
you're destroying this child's health and this is mental well-being, and you're a danger. Go away. Stay away from your child. Even though you're making him happy and he loves being with you, stay away. Like, that's probably the worst part, right?
It is.
Go ahead, Nick.
Here's what I don't understand. You're in a world where Santa actually exists.
You mean every world? Because
every world.
I mean, like the physical embodiment.
Looking out for you, big guy. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna be having my NORAD app open, watching you fly over.
What did you drop me that paramedic card any day now?
Oh, he's flying. That's why he's really trying to throw us off with this whole like Santa isn't real thing. It's because it's him
in our universe.
In every universe.
In a parallel universe. No. I mean, like in this movie, it's clear that the physical embodiment of like everything that we believe in is like physically real. It's like to these
tangible.
people, yeah, exactly. Like you could see it, you touch it, you could even smell it.
Lick it,
You
Getting
can
weird
pop
now.
it, you twist it.
You can feed it.
flick it.
Give him some milk.
Uh, the part that bummed me out the most was hearing the judge actually give the mom and Neil like full what was it, like full custody rights or something?
Mhm.
What earth would a judge give a parent full custody rights over
I know.
dad being Santa?
It's why this is why I put it as a
Doesn't make
nitpick.
any sense to me.
Yeah. It's terrible.
I mean, it's about the kid's well-being. So I
The
understand.
kid is happier.
That's the thing that I find strange is like the only ones that are really having a problem with this are the adults, are the parents.
But that's the thing, is that the mom and Neil are they somehow came up with an argument that Scott is like a detriment to Charlie's life. And I'm
Right.
like, what is that argument? Like we never actually heard it in court, really. And I'm like, how was the judge convinced?
Scott's like, oh sure, the Johnsons can go in and wear a bunny suit and they're parents of the year, but me, I put on Santa Claus and there go my damn visitation rights.
So the story in a little way reminded me of Miracle on 34th Street, where you've got the real Santa who ends up in a court case and having to prove that he is Santa.
Yeah.
It's similar, not the same, but that's one of those things that I kind of got with this movie, where it again, Miracle on 34th Street is not a Disney movie. I don't think either versions are.
No.
But I feel like that's where you kind of get that it's not a Disney movie vibe from, where this is kind of a darkish storyline. Even how it's told is very sad. It's depressing, and they don't go into much detail with it. But it's I don't know. It feels like it's something that I wish that they would have. I don't know. I wanted more from Scott. Like there's too much where it's passive Scott, just like, ugh, I'm Santa Claus. Like give me more.
I'm Santa.
Yeah, that would have been better. But it's like I wish that they would have given us more of what it actually meant for Scott Calvin to die and Santa Claus to live. Because that's what happens, right? It's like you sign on to be Santa. It's like you have given up all of who you are. You've given that up because now you are Santa Claus. And it's him coming to terms with that, him dealing with that. And they never really give it to us. Go ahead.
And another thing about the mom and Neil.
And another one.
Another one.
And I guess like this kind of goes into your whole thing about like, oh, I'm Santa. Like this, what I'm about to say adds to that, or reasons with that. It's that I feel like the mom is sort of thinking that Scott is like doing drugs, or he's like hallucinating, or like he's schizophrenic or something. Like he's not being himself, and that he is sort of like gone mentally crazy in front of Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe like also gave Charlie some stuff, some drugs, whatever. And I don't know, this might be a little bit of a stretch, but I just think that that's what I think the mom and Neil are thinking, is that Scott is having like a mental health crisis.
I would think so, especially with the moment where they're at Charlie's soccer game.
Yeah.
Because I noticed this for the first time watching it. When Mom and Neil arrive, you can hear Charlie saying hi to them, but when they cut to the two of them walking, they are eyes locked on Scott, and Charlie is behind them, and you can't even see. I think like you can see his arms kind of like hi, but like they are so blinders on that all they see is Scott doing his Santa Claus thing. And like she says, like, and it's actually one of the better, like really good moments of her acting of like, I never in my well maybe like just like losing it kind of in that moment, and then just being like, you're scaring me, you're scaring me and my child. You're not scaring the child because he's doing just fine.
Yeah.
But like, you're scaring me. You're like, because I think she even says like to physically change yourself to feed into this. Like that was the terrifying moment for her. Like you're really going in.
Well, but in that, oh, sorry.
I think it was Brian.
Yeah. Just to add to the scene, it's not only the Laura's the actress of Laura that's doing a great job, but Neil does a great job on the actor, Judge
Reinhold.
Thank you, Reinhold. Does a phenomenal delivery on his line where he's like, I forgot what he says, but it's something like the lines of I think you're taking this a little too far to where it's actually affecting your health. And he takes out his card and he's like, call me. Like to where even himself is at an absolute disbelief as to what he just the scene that he just walked up on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Scott is, to him, he's like, Scott has broken through the ceiling and is in another stratosphere, and I don't even know how to get him back at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Jen.
But here's to further confuse the matter, because as Matt was saying, the line of like what Laura was saying at the end of it, she's like, to make Charlie like you.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're seeing this reaction for the sole purpose as making his son like him, and yet then they take away the rights. That makes zero sense.
That's interesting writing.
Well, I was going to add to the soccer scene when Mom and Neil are walking up and it's Scott on the bench and all these kids lined up, right? Is that scene? Yeah. These kids are lined up like wanting to sit on Santa's lap, and he's not even like dressed as Santa. Just kind of looks like him.
He did nothing to start it. That little girl just walks up to him.
The kids
he even tries to avoid her. Like, back the fuck up. Who are you, little girl?
I'm just gonna ask the obvious head scratcher.
Yeah.
Where are the parents?
Yeah.
There are 12 kids lined up, and not one parent is like, checks out.
Yeah, you can sit on that strange man's lap.
Well, not one parent is complaining. Yeah, no parents are complaining. You've seen that there are a couple, at least at the soccer game. So I mean,
and everyone's cool for just all the kids to just line up as if they're like boarding a bus. No complications in the park. Just a typical day.
Oh God! And how weird is it for Scott after that whole interaction with Laura too? Of like, she's screaming at him and like, you're this crazy person, and he's like, I'll go. It's like, you storm off with your kid, you walk through this field twice,
yeah,
and like, I've got to stand here and like not get weird looks from these people now.
I love that the mom and Neil like walks through the soccer game
straight
like,
through the game.
Total that's parent style.
Oh my God.
I had a scene for us before we went on break.
Yeah, and
all right.
And Nick decided he just wanted to be uber depressing and be like,
yeah exactly.
Let's keep doing this.
Nick, stop being a Neil.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is my scene title is a reference to another movie, and I'll be very interested if people get it. All right. So the scene title is Skinny Guy in a Big Red Coat.
Oh my God.
I mean, you're definitely doing Tommy Boy, but
there you go.
what is the moment? I imagine it's the doctor's office when he's sitting there with his t-shirt and his big old belly is poking out.
No.
Then I guess when he puts the coat on for the first time.
Yeah, that's it.
The opposite.
Yeah, exactly. I was pretty proud of myself for that one. Anyway, I wrote down the scene because It's just interesting. Or it's entertaining to me, to say the least. Watching Tim Allen freak out is just really funny when he's like bitching about having to put on the suit. No one's listening to him. He's being told by what to do by a reindeer. You could just tell he's just so frustrated with life. And then the best part is when he takes his frustration that he's getting from reindeers and his son out on all these families that that he's now playing Santa for. he's throwing the canoe down and the oars. Poor Sarah. He just unleashes on her, and this whole the whole moment is it's a really funny part of the movie. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I enjoy it. Like I mentioned it earlier that this whole first night of Santa Claus, like it's got its moments for sure. I wish that they had kind of done more or expanded on it. But since you brought her up, is the little girl that he does the whole like I am lactose intolerant?
Yeah.
Her name is Sarah.
That's Sarah, yeah.
Interesting. Well, so I noted this because I was like, okay, well, I've got to pay attention to it this time since we're critiquing. So year one, sweet little Sarah gets some milk, cookies, and she has no teeth.
I knew you were gonna go with this. Yep.
A year later, she gets Santa Claus lactose, like soy milk and cookies.
Yep.
And she still has no teeth.
No teeth.
She never grew her front teeth.
Poor Sarah.
How
I know a song for her.
Oh my! It's so interesting. I know exactly what you're talking about. Good reference, by the way. And I wonder if that's why they didn't do this.
Maybe.
The reason I bring it up is Charlie loses his teeth. You give him fake teeth for the movie.
Right.
You have a little girl who's missing front teeth. A year later is still missing front teeth. Like, is there a reason you chose not to give her fake teeth for the second scene that she's awake for 2 seconds?
Yeah. Oh, I titled that scene "That's So Sweet of You."
That's so sweet. You titled all like you got some good titles this time.
Good one.
Do you guys want to hear all my? I can just run off my titles right now.
Go for it.
Well, if we don't cover them,
well, okay, that's fair. Yeah.
All right, fine.
At the end, if we don't cover them.
Oh, you know what? I didn't. Damn it! I didn't do the. I did title the intro to the North Pole. Daddy, I mean Santa's home.
Wait, what?
I said, Daddy, I mean Santa's home.
Oh.
A little bit of a Barney Stinson came into me on that one.
Daddy's home.
Daddy's home.
Santa suit up.
Nice.
Yeah, that perfect for that.
That's a good one.
Santa suit up.
Santa suit up.
What else? Do you guys want to talk about Santa Death Claus?
Yeah, let's talk about the accidental murder.
Yeah. So I'll start off. I have a nitpick on this one.
Okay.
When he slips off the roof, you can totally see fake snow.
Yes.
Like it looks like a white blanket, just like, or like, just, I'm like, oh, guys.
This is the first time I ever noticed it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's clear as day that it's fake and everything, but it's a nitpick. I just find it so interesting that Santa dies and people are just, we're good with it. We're good. It's on to the next. But it's still a funny scene in general. The fact that Tim Allen's out there in his boxers the entire time is always great. The ladder comes out of nowhere, knocks him in the head. I mean, there's just a lot of good stuff going on here. Go ahead, Nick.
I actually like the lead up to this scene when
inside.
Yeah, when Scott is like tucking Charlie into bed, and they're talking about the word clatter, like what it means and stuff, and then I just love that. Like right after that, they hear clatter up on the roof. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like to a kid, that's such a wholesome moment of like, oh, I learned what this word is, and now I'm experiencing what it is.
Yes.
And then, but then it also like ties into Santa being up on the roof, and it just I love that moment that they have leading up to it.
Did you guys catch the name of the ladder company?
Yes.
Oh, I did see. I can't remember what it was.
A rose, such a clatter.
Yeah.
It was like a rose, such a clatter. No,
It's
such a ladder company or something like that.
Such a ladder.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a ladder company. Yeah, which I thought is such a weird, like it's totally unneeded joke of like, look, the rose, such a clatter company.
Right.
It's
in case you missed it.
Yeah. I guess it is kind of fun though, because it plays on like what it what it says, what it is, and they do a rose such a clatter. Like that does happen.
Right.
And it's fun, but ultimately that's so unnecessary. Although it is great to watch.
Coming up next, ho ho ho.
But it is great watching Tim Allen trying to figure shit out and then turns around and punk right into a ladder.
Yeah, especially because he's like, okay, I get the guy falling off the roof.
Mhm.
I've got insurance. I'm fine there. And then he's like, reindeer on the roof. Like you can see him working the thought process like the reindeer on the roof. Yeah, that's a new one. Dude. Oh man. And then he gets all mad at Charlie. Where did this come from? Like Charlie could just pick up this, this like 25-foot ladder, Scott. Come on.
Well, that's what ties into the whole thing about him being so short with Charlie so often in the beginning. It's like, why are you just blaming Charlie for all this stuff? Like,
yeah,
how do you think that he came up with all of this? Like, he didn't.
What you got, Jen?
Well, this made me actually tie in one of the podcasts that we did. So I was just listening to Finding Nemo, and we were talking about how when kids will just go off doing whatever, and then so often, I think it was Matt that said, so often you just see the parent like, don't you do that, don't you do that, stop going up there. And then, so at this scene in particular, especially when he's climbing up the ladder, I'm just dying laughing. And I hope that we can talk about how exactly what we said. Like parents will just be like, damn, don't you do that, stop going up there. And then the kids just, he touched.
Although Scott had a lot of opportunity to actually like grab him, to keep him from actually starting to go up. He waited till Charlie was halfway.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, don't.
Don't touch
the reindeer butt.
Yeah, don't touch the reindeer. This is so funny.
So I noticed a bunch of things for the first time in this scene. One, when Santa disappears and like his clothes just sort of sink. I never noticed that his boots don't just sink with him. They end up placed nicely next to his suit. That was just a weird thing that I noticed.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, his boots don't sink like everything else. Everything else drops as if it just like a body melted out of it.
Right.
His boots are placed to the side, standing up.
Okay.
So yeah, that I thought was interesting.
I also noticed that they never show the face. It's basically like neck down.
I don't even think they show neck. Like his entire head, like from here,
gone,
is buried. Buried in snow. You never see it.
Yep. They're like, we can't scar kids.
Well, we can't show a dead Santa Claus, which they do anyway. But okay, that brings me to one of my questions: is like, why include Santa waving goodbye? Like, is that supposed to? Was it done like just because you're bringing this up and I'm thinking about it this way? Was it brought up as a way of like sensitizing it to the kids of like, see, kids, he's not dead, he's just going away.
I think so, because if it's waving, which means there's still life in there.
Yeah.
Well, now that leads me to the other theory of it's a passing of the torch onto Scott, like he was chosen.
Yeah.
Because why is Santa dicking around at Scott Calvin's chimney, right? Like, why is he spending so much time on his roof? Why is he being so loud on his roof? It seems suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
He falls and then he waves goodbye. Like, everything about that seems very suspicious. It almost feels planned out. So it's
a pretty good case, Matt.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
There is.
But so the only reason why Santa actually falls and slides down the roof and hits the ground is because he was startled, right? By Scott. Like, Scott just like says, "Hey, what are you doing?" Or
he just says, "Hey, you," on the
"Hey,
roof.
you," yeah. And then Santa's like, "Whoa," and then like falls.
Yeah.
Like that's all that caused it.
Yeah. But again, as we see, Santa just needs to hold on to his bag and he can fly.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking that.
So like, why is he dicking around at the chimney? Why is he not just going down the chimney? Why doesn't he have his bag in his hand? Like, there's a lot of.
I blame Comet.
Okay, that was the other thing that I noticed for the
Comet,
first time.
dude.
That Comet is right up front.
Yeah.
I never noticed he was one of the lead reindeer.
Comet is the mastermind behind everything. I think he's like, this guy's got to go.
He is the first reindeer that Charlie goes up to, and it's like, when he's asked that question of which is your favorite reindeer, no hesitation, Comet. It's because he licked your ear, you weirdo.
Oh man.
Yeah. Lots of interesting things happening in that Santa scene. I don't know. Like, do you think, who thinks it was an accident?
I think we already talked about this.
No,
But who thinks
I'm going with Comet.
Comet was the one?
I'm sold.
Okay.
Well, okay, hold on, Brian. I need you to back that up a little bit. Like, did he do something? Was it a mind trick? Like, what?
Oh yeah, do you know how powerful Comet is? He's like, I'm just gonna make this man just suck through this little tiny, very very tiny tube thing, and then presto, we're gonna build a fireplace too while we're at it, and then it's gonna disappear. Comet has some juice in him, and I think he's like, I'm really tired of this guy, and I talked to Bernard. We've got a plan.
Oh, inside job,
absolutely.
I would explain.
Comet looked at the Santa on the roof, and he's like, time to go.
So you think that Comet just like turned his boots into soap?
No, it's like when Scott says, "Hey, you," and then Santa goes to turn around, Comet's like, "That's it."
Gust of wind
gives him that extra off balance. That's all you need.
like using the force.
Farts.
That's what happens. He farts in his general direction.
Yep. I do think because Comet was on the ready, man. He's like, I know what you got to do. This, I want you to do this. I'm going to growl at you, like you're going to do as I say. You're not going to argue with me, and we're going to have a great night. And he was ready.
And the reindeer know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's Bernard's doing right there.
Well,
I'm telling you, the Santa Claus is an inside job. GoodFlickas, you heard it here first on GoodFlickas.
And once again, what is it that Scott's asking the entire time that he's back as Santa Claus? What do I do if I fall off a roof? What do I do if I fall off a roof? Who answers that question? Comet. Gives him a rope.
I really want the director of this movie to listen to this and like send Brian an email of like, "Yep, it was Comet."
Yeah.
How did you guess?
Comet's
Although can we unpack the rope a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's.
Is that a
unravel?
They make what if I fall off a roof like a very big important part of the movie, right? It's not just said once, it's said multiple times throughout the movie. It's clearly Scott's concern or Santa's concern. Is
Why
a
wouldn't
rope
it
just
be?
kind of like a throw a band-aid on it? And we've done due diligence on answering the question, or because that's kind of how I feel.
I think it's just meant to be like this is us answering the question, but also delivering it in kind of a joke.
Okay.
Which is why it's not satisfying.
Yeah.
Also, he's
I think
Santa Claus. He's magic. They explain that later. It's like if he fell off a roof, I'm pretty sure magic. I float.
I think I would have even taken an answer like just make sure that you're holding on to the bag at all time. It's basically your parachute. You know?
Yeah.
Even that answer I think I would have been fine with. But the rope, I'm like, I think this is kind of slapped together, guys.
I would not step out of that sleigh without having that bag in my hand.
I know, Matt, you brought it up a little bit earlier, but the doctor knows nothing. Can we talk about this scene?
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
The doctor knows nothing.
Yeah, what's it referencing?
That's getting a physical.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So where do I begin on this? Oh, I was cringing a couple of times.
You're looking good running in those Chuck Taylors.
Yeah, that was fine. I was talking about the doctor himself. Doctor Useless is what I would call him.
I mean, is he useless if you're examining somebody and they have no problems?
Let me just make a demonstration for you guys. This is how we check a pulse. Okay. Notice how my two fingers lightly pressed against and right on the artery. Dr. Useless. I mean, it feels good to me. I'm like, what is going on right now?
You can actually still feel
that nitpick out there.
Still feel it.
That's why it sounded like the jingle bells to him.
Well, that was that's the other thing is his heart. I'm never going to get into that one.
I think he had the appropriate reaction to hearing a heartbeat of that.
Well, yes. If I was checking someone's lungs and hearts and I heard jingle bells coming at me, I'm. So we're taught BSI scene safety is number one. I'm backing up. Like there's something wrong here, right? Anyway, and then what else did I have on that one? The advice that he's doing. Like if someone tells you they gained 45 pounds in 1 week, and your next question is, well, what has been your diet? I'm like, how does that not raise 70 alarms in your head? If a patient's like, yeah, I just gained 45 pounds in a week, I would be like, you need to go somewhere. Like you're going to the hospital. This is above me right now. Like there's no way I'm figuring this one out. Like, come on. Was it Jen or Matt?
Jen.
Okay.
So I get what you're saying, but to me, in my head, I looked at it as like it was the power of the spirit of Christmas. And just like it like gave the doctor blinders almost like, oh, you seem healthy. It is what it is. Like at the end of the day,
you just gotta lay off the sweets, guy.
Yeah, like he's just like, there's nothing wrong.
What sweets are you doing?
It's a very casual day, like that. I don't know. I saw it as like a magical moment, and like some people, because some adults can still have that imagination, so I think the spirit of Christmas got to him, because at the end of the day, like Christmas wins, so and you're gonna get fat.
Christmas wins, you're gonna get fat.
All right.
That's the moral of the story.
Jen dropping some truth bombs on us.
Well, guys, we're 19 days away from Christmas as we record this, so It's winning. Go get fat.
This podcast is going to be live in March of 2025, so don't you worry.
Hateful. But
I'm just saying it's a rough scene for me. It always has been, and now even more so because of my profession and my knowledge and all that.
well, and I feel like it was. I feel like the appointment itself was done backwards than what would normally be, where you're having this interview and asking him these questions about like, well, what's your daily diet? What do you do? Like, shouldn't that be the stuff that you ask before you start testing him by putting him on a treadmill and
well, no, maybe not, because I think he was just doing a stress test.
But still, wouldn't you want to like ask the questions before you start any tests?
You could get a little history.
I've never been into any doctor's appointment, and this is including with ones where like I know the doctors personally, that didn't begin with those conversations.
That's true. Yeah.
Good.
Although there was a really fun, relatable moment in this scene that I really liked is when the doctor's putting like the stethoscope thing on his chest, and he's like, "Ooh, that's cold."
Oh,
Funnier considering it's a fat suit and he can't feel it.
What?
And he's sweating his ass off. He's dying. He's got a rash because this fat suit's rubbing his neck, and he's got to be like, "Oh, that's cold."
That's not real, Matt. He's Santa, and that's his real body.
It's his real body.
Yeah, and it's cold.
He felt cold. Can you say cold?
Cold. COLD.
Oh, you can spell it too. What a big, strong boy you are. You're big, smart brain. You. Go ahead, Brian.
Big brain.
I'm gonna drop a head scratcher because it's getting weird over there.
I hurt my feelings.
All right. Yeah, I've actually have a couple head scratchers looking at this.
You hurt my feelings.
My feelings.
That's like the fourth time you said it tonight.
It's called a reoccurring gag.
I'm with you. I get it. Go ahead, Brian.
You sure?
No. But take it while you can, because otherwise you're giving
me free air, man.
Exactly.
So I've done or we've gone over this a couple of times. I think we went over it in Jingle All the Way. I don't know what it was with 90s movies and timeline, but they are really bad. They just didn't have it right. So my head scratcher that I wrote down was turkey dinner timeline. Can we unpack this one? So he went to a freaking Christmas party. Shows up after the party, realizing he now has a son, but now it's dinner time, and I guess he had something planned, and he looks down and he says 4 hours. Even if you leave a Christmas dinner party, I'm thinking maybe 7 p.m., 8 p.m. And that's if you leave it early, because most of them definitely go later on into the evening. So this is where it just unravels at this point. It's like, so you've got 4 hours, you haven't made it. So now we're looking at like at 12 midnight, you're basically burning everything down. And then you're like, you know what? I really failed this. Let's go to Denny's. So we're going to Denny's at 3 a.m. with a bunch of dads who have burnt the dinner as well. The timeline is really harsh on this one, guys.
Just, I guess, a couple comments. First of all, I agree. The passing of 1 year is very just like, I guess it happens, like I guess they're progressing through the year, but it's never like clearly made specifically like how far into the year they are until they are just kind of showing the next year Christmas.
Well, no, that was fine, because what I was talking about was all before this or before that.
Oh,
I was talking about like when it's in the very, very beginning of the movie where he burns the dinner.
Yeah. But is that Is
That was the first. That's the first Christmas.
Oh.
So if you think about it, he burns the dinner.
Uh-huh.
He at this is where it hurts my brain to think of this. He goes to a Christmas party. They tell us it takes 4 hours for whatever beautiful Thanksgiving looking dinner he was trying to do, and then it pulls out of your dinner is going to look so beautiful, and it pulls out to his table, and everything just looks like he took a blowtorch and went I think it's cooked. And so he's roasting dinner, right? And then he's like, okay, so I guess we're gonna go to Denny's. So they go to Denny's for dinner. They see Judy. Now they come back. This is all on the same night, because now we go through the Santa dies, they play Santa. So I just don't understand the timeline here at all for any of this. It's like that is a lot to happen. And I'm going to give you a very generous 12 hours, but I don't even think it's 12 hours.
Hold on. I need to respond to that, because I thought the turkey that he burnt like that.
Yep.
I thought that happens the next year.
First Christmas.
Oh wow. Okay. You just kind of blew my mind a little bit, because I was
It's one of the biggest nitpicks that I've had of the movie forever. I'm just like, this timeline is so no one cared. Timeline went out the window at this point. They're just like, everything has to happen in this night, and I don't give a crap about time. Go ahead, Matt.
It might be the worst thing in this movie, where like that's the first example. Like you said, this is supposed to be night one, and I think the only potential saving grace of it is that you can see that Neil and Laura are trying to get to their own holiday party.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe there's this implication that Scott's was done earlier in the night. Either way, but I mean, like either way, like you're saying, he's
like what realistically is dark by 5:30.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give him that. It's December.
Yeah, I mean, either way, he's getting home 5-6 o'clock minimum. Like that's as early as he's getting home.
Sure.
And throw in your 4 hours. All right. Clearly he's trying to cook it faster, and he's going at a higher temperature, and it's burning everything.
Yep.
So let's say that takes 2 hours. So minimum, that's 7 o'clock.
Yep.
You got to drive around town. You got to find Denny's. You got to eat at Denny's. That's another hour and a half. Like you're saying, like by the time all of this stuff is happening, they're not going to bed until stupid late at night.
And you took time to read him a bedtime story.
Yeah. There's a lot going on all this entire night.
Yeah.
But to Nick's point, like what he was saying is like between Christmas 1 and the next year, they don't do a good job of making it clear that a year is passing. It's spring, it's summer, it's fall, it's winter. Like there's no clear indicators. You see them in different outfits. Like you've got the little girl at the soccer game who's in shorts and a tank top. So it's like, okay, clearly it's warmer.
Yeah.
But you've still got Scott who's like wearing long clothes all of the time. And it always seems to be the same time of year, right? Like it always kind of seems to be that grayish. Is it wintry? Like, is it Seattle and it's just overcast all of the time because it rains a lot? Like,
right.
It never seems to really change seasons. So so I would think the passage of time is probably a big flaw of this movie. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, this goes right into my another head scratcher of mine. I'm so proud of myself for this one. What was Charlie's January through October like?
What do you mean?
So what I'm talking about, we're already past the event of his dad becoming Santa Claus, and he knows the night that they had. And like you guys were just saying, it's basically expedited to where we're boom. It's around Thanksgiving, and we're back at it a year later, right? And so I was thinking, put yourself in Charlie's position. You are a kid who just spent all night watching your dad be Santa, And I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I couldn't wait. When Christmas was the day after Christmas, I was already doing the countdown for next Christmas. And that was just when I was a kid, excited for the holidays and all that stuff, right? Now we're talking about a kid who knows his dad's Santa Claus. What is his January through October like? Like, is he just like almost borderline tweaking, just waiting for the holidays to roll around, or like what's he doing?
He's riding the high. I don't know. Like,
any ideas? I really couldn't think of anything besides the fact that just anxious and beyond excited, just counting down the days.
actually, it's funny you mentioned this because I'm actually thinking about because the following year,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it takes Scott basically a full year to fully become Santa, right? With the hair, like
pretty much
like 100% by the next year. I'm wondering, like, year 2, when Charlie's dad is now fully Santa throughout the entire year. Like, I feel like Charlie's got to be like, oh God, another year, my dad's Santa, yeah, you know. But then, like, because now he sees it all year long instead of just during Christmas time. Like, that's what I want to know is how Charlie's like by year 2. I mean, I haven't seen the second and third movie, so I don't know.
I think you're gonna need to watch the sequels.
Yeah, I was
But
Yeah.
I mean, just to say that you have. They're worth a watch. If you've seen this one, watch it when it's actually Disney-fied. And you can't tell me the sequels are not like ultra.
Oh, dude. Yeah. That whole like fake look, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying that they're better than the first one or worse?
They're not better,
but they're more Disney-fied.
They're more Disney-fied. So like, you know, we're talking about like we're talking about like the workshop and the North Pole and all this stuff, like how things could be brighter, how they could be more magical, more colorful.
Yeah,
they are.
But the North Pole in this one looks amazing.
Yeah, they improve upon it, but it sacrifices for a terrible story.
So should I just mute it and just watch the visuals?
I mean, you could. The second one, I would say it has its charm. The third one, I'm not really a fan of, but if you're a Martin Short fan,
yeah, I was gonna say if you're a Martin Short guy.
But I do think that this discussion has really got me even more interested in the TV show. Which I'm curious if they even acknowledge the third movie, because it's mostly pointless.
Nick, what'd you think of ELFS?
Okay, I know I said this earlier, but I got weird like Ghostbuster vibes from them, and I don't know if that's kind of like what their take on was supposed to be. I like they kind of go out.
It could have been.
Capture.
It could have been a Ghostbuster play.
Yeah, I don't know.
All I know is, like, when I grew up, I definitely wanted to be part of ELFS. These kids had the freaking badass jetpacks.
Absolutely, preach.
They had all of the gadgets. They were freaking cool, and I'm like, yeah, I want to be ELFS. But the one thing that I've noticed that's like still strange to me is the wrapping paper bit where they're or the tape, I guess, where they're wrapping up the police officer
in the chair,
and they've just got like the reel that's on their belts.
Yeah,
like I
was like, where's that coming from? Like, what?
The only thing for me is like it's a fun idea, it's cute, and it all makes sense. But like it's the execution of it that becomes weird. You've got these kids that have this thing that's coming out of their belts.
Yeah,
and they're doing like this weird like squatting and raising kind of thing, and like it looks really odd. Also, how's the explanation of this thing spinning this guy faster and faster in a in a desk chair. Like, although this was the first time I noticed that he's reading like a romance novel. Did you?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he's reading like a romance novel, like Fabio style romance novel.
Jesus.
So like, yeah, I still want to be ELFS. Those guys got like I said,
for sure,
the
dude.
jetpack is awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta say, to this day, honestly, the best use of tinsel I've ever seen.
Does anybody else wonder about that other guy that's in prison, like, or that's in the jail cell, of like, what did he do to end up there? Because he's kind of he's dressed nicely.
He's dressed nice. I'm going public intoxication.
I would bet, but like, would you give him the tinsel?
No.
Ooh.
Well, maybe talk to him first and see what he's in for.
I like this.
See if it's tinsel worthy.
Urinating on a church.
Yo,
Since we're going Barney with all of these things.
Yo, do you got that toilet tinsel?
Toilet tinsel.
Ever heard of that? Like toilet wine?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking like counterfeit. Like they freaking make their own tinsel. I don't even want to guess what that would be made of. That sounds awful.
Toilet tinsel.
I don't even know.
Oh jeez. No, yeah, ELFS, they were definitely my crew. I always got so stoked. I wish they were in the movie more, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
You know, I could have used another 5 or 6 minutes of them. Elves with Attitude, that was always a good one.
That kid was so cool. I think that was the other reason why I liked him.
Yeah, he was like friend vibes, you know.
The way he talked was really like cool. It was like cool, chill. I don't know.
In a way, it reminded me a lot of JTT.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's supposed to be like their SWAT, right? Like,
yeah,
they're the emergency team that they call in, and that kid brought it with like, I've got the experience, I've got the attitude. Like it's like he was just like, it's a cool cop. This was the coolest cop on the block.
All 4 of them brought it. They were on full sprints down the hallway. They're like, when that alarm goes off, we're out.
The flips and stuff for the takeoffs are fun.
Cartwheels.
Yeah. It's so funny to me that you can see that there's one kid who, like, I think on like his final rotation, he either under rotates or over rotates, and he can't quite get back to like takeoff position, and he slowly gets there, and then he's off. But yeah, that was the other badass thing. It was like, these guys are doing freaking
like acrobatic
into a jetpack.
Yeah.
Like that's so freaking cool.
So since we're on the topic of ELFS, here's a couple more notes that I have on it. First, when they go to rescue Charlie on the roof, and clearly it's just like, here's the roof, and then Charlie is just a little bit higher up, but everything's all connected. Why does the lead guy have to just hover? Just like a little, like a 2-second hover to get to Charlie. It was like, I'm like, dude, major flex much? Like, you just flew it, but sure, just do your little hover. You can't just walk.
But no, I have a jetpack.
Yeah. I guess when you have a jetpack, use it at all costs.
Hell yeah. If I had a jetpack, I would never walk.
We watched The Rocketeer. Like,
yes, exactly.
Now here's the bigger head scratcher. I've never been able to answer it, so maybe it can be answered tonight. How was Charlie stuck on the roof?
He was in the sleigh.
Right. So Santa Claus goes down, he gets hauled out, he's arrested, all that stuff. The Santa hat is left at the scene because we hear Judy saying, "Santa, are you all right?" The reindeers and the sleigh are up on the roof.
Yes.
But all of a sudden, and Charlie's up on the roof. But when the ELFS show up, the reindeer and the sleigh are gone. So where'd the reindeer go? Why didn't we bring Charlie, and how is he stuck? This one also hurts my head.
Where did the reindeer go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
I mean, I don't have answers for you. All of it's kind of weird to me. Of like, you're telling me that if Charlie had access to the sleigh, he's not going to try and take off. Like even if that just means like, okay, get us back to the North Pole.
You have Comet. That's all I need.
Get us back to the North Pole. We got to save Santa.
Exactly.
Like there's no, I wouldn't imagine that Charlie at this point would just sit around. The cops are watching this place.
But again, the reindeer are gone. Everything's gone when ELFS shows up. I'm like, and you left like it hurts. It really does.
Yeah. I'm with
I
you.
still love this movie.
You can love a movie and complain about it.
I feel like most of this talk has been critiquing.
No, there's definitely been praises. What else do I have? I have quotes. Oh, I have a final head scratcher if you guys want to know.
Yeah.
How does Neil think Charlie's going to be wants to be a psychiatrist?
Because he is crazy.
Come on, bro. Your dad's a Santa Claus. You're going to be a great psychiatrist. Right. That's the line of business I want to go down.
I think Neil is what loses the movie.
Well, it's interesting too that he says, so Neil says that you're going to make a great psychiatrist one day. And then Charlie comes back with, no, I think I'm going to go into the family business.
Yeah.
Like, is that not a little bit of a dig at you, Neil, for not being his real dad?
Or being his family.
Right?
Wait, what does he mean by the family business? Like he wants to become Santa? Like he has to kill his father to become Santa?
And it will be epic. There's going to be a fight in the snow, and all they have to defend themselves are icicles.
Matt, new spinoff idea: the God Santa.
God Santa.
I want like a final destination, but it's all Santa deaths.
I pretty much just have quotes. Like I think
really?
Everything else, yeah.
Okay.
There's scenes.
Well, we've got the ending that we can do. I mean, do you guys even want to talk about the ending or no? Anything worth noting?
Charlie being a total loser. Oh, come on. You just made it over Cleveland. You're going to call him back? He's gone for 15 minutes. Like, it's ridiculous. Charlie is a needy child.
He is.
I don't know why you like him, Jen.
Do we like the double ending?
I don't mind it, but
I don't mind it either. I think it works.
I would have been fine. I would have like the second ending with Santa coming back and taking off. Like it's a cute, it's fun little moment, but ultimately without it, like I think it's just fine.
Yeah. But then you get the line of
Santa.
Well, yeah, and like just 45 minutes, no flying over oceans. It's like, yeah, every mom's rules, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that sort of ending is like a cliche. Like you end with Santa and the reindeer and the sleigh going off into the sky and credits roll.
Yeah.
I do have a nitpick though.
Go ahead. Yeah.
My nitpick to this ending, and I'm like, guys, it was like you're and the reason why I gave it a nitpick is because they've done all these like obvious in your face things. And I'm like, but you don't do this one. We don't get at the like you almost expect it to happen where they're flying off and we're basically fading to black and everything. But as they're flying off, how do we not get Merry Christmas to all and to all a good night?
Because he said it earlier.
But how do we not get it again?
No, it would have been a good callback. To fair.
Exactly. And it's like that's how mostly every Christmas movie ends, with Santa flying away.
Mm.
And if you're going to be, just so by the book, you gotta do that one.
Doesn't Elf end that way with the reindeer and Santa flying off?
Well, they're singing
They're
the
at-
song, right? They're singing Santa Claus is coming to town.
Oh yeah,
It's what channels the Christmas spirit.
right.
I can't remember if he says Merry Christmas to all and to all good night though.
I can't remember either.
I don't think he does.
No?
But I don't know. For me, that second ending is very contradictory. Like it's one of the things that they do often in this movie is like you've got your characters that have whatever flaws or whatever that they're supposed to overcome, right? But ultimately, nobody really grows in this one. I shouldn't say nobody, but for the most part, they don't really grow in this movie. It's stated where I can't be selfish. I have to think about the kids of the world. I guess I can't be selfish either because you have to think about the kids of the world. And what happens? He's still, shaking the snow globe and sending his dad back. Like you know what I mean? Like Scott is still the absent father. Charlie is the needy kid who just desperately wants his father's attention, needs his father's attention. Like it's wrapped up in a beautiful little bow, but ultimately nobody really changes or grows. And I feel like that's such a downfall.
I mean, do kids like understand that kind of concept of
I would think so. I mean,
because we talked about this in Jingle All the Way, like the same idea, and these are both kids movies.
Well, in Jingle All the Way, it's the dad that doesn't change. The son, I mean, I think he kind of gains. He doesn't really need to change. He's just a kid being a kid in the movie. But I mean, for him to be like, I need this toy because it's the coolest toy and everybody's getting this toy, to being like, no, it's really not that important. It's just a toy. I've got my dad, and that's ultimately what I really want. So I mean, like he changes, but I don't know. I feel like making Scott an absent father was a bad call with this one. If they had just made it to where they're a divorced couple and they butt heads because she's dating some new guy or she's married to some new guy, like that dynamic still works. It nothing really changes. You don't have to make him an absent father or a constantly late father.
That's a good point.
Like they should have had Scott kind of be the intro to his character should have been like him,
You're my number one customer.
No, just sort of being like the father who's like always watching TV as a couch potato, adds some form of liquor to his coffee, like I don't know, just like the father who is absent, like in the beginning.
That is more than just an absent father, but
that's problematic.
Okay, I mean maybe not to that. It doesn't have to be to that degree, but to just show that like the father is not involved.
Yeah,
much.
Son, go and get your father some eggnog.
Yeah, yeah, but still have like some sort of like he still gets some sort of like visitation, custody, whatever for Charlie, and then the character arc happens when Scott becomes Santa, and then like learns the value of being there for his son, and like embraces being Santa because he was chosen, and like he has to learn that lesson from his son, and maybe Papa Santa. I don't know. Yeah, I just really think that they could have reworked the character of Scott Calvin.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian.
You guys got me thinking over here. Another dynamic that they could have done is X the Neo character entirely. Just axe him out of here.
What?
Make it to where it is you've got Scott and you've got Laura, and they're in a loving relationship, right? They're still married and everything. They've got Charlie. There's no problem there. Where the conflict comes in is one of them wants to keep the Santa Claus belief going and the other doesn't. And that would be, maybe, Laura takes the hit on that one. She's the one that doesn't want to keep it going. And then you kind of get the story of the Santa Claus unfolding the way it is, where now it's more of like them battling. It's like, you're changing your appearance for him now, and all of this, but you're completely like, there is no absent father, there is no broken dynamic or broken connection between Charlie and Scott. And I think that might that might twist it a little bit. Perfect.
So then who is the main character in that trio, in that story?
Like 10 seconds of chirp.
I'll be adding that in post.
Anyway,
but no, I mean, like, that's an honest question. Like, in that scenario, which of the three, like, them becomes the main character? Is it still?
Oh, it's Tim Allen. Of course, he's still going through the transformation of being the Santa Claus. Nothing changes there. And if you think about it, the Santa Claus itself, like the movie that we were given, yes, there's these connections, but really, what is the main problem or the continuous problem of throughout the movie? It's people fighting their beliefs, because the minute they cave into their beliefs and they start to believe what really is in front of them, everything gets better for those who are doing it. Charlie is the one that's on the jump. He never stops believing, and everything's good for him. And then it takes a while, but Scott finally gets on board, and once he's on board with being Santa Claus, everything gets a little bit smoother for him. And then the last on the train is Neil and Laura, but once they believe, now everything's picture perfect, and we're all happy again. So it's really just not going against the fight of what you're trying to believe or not.
Yeah, I think that's a good conflict for, like, the dad to not be believing, right? And that him not believing is kind of like, it's not what's like tearing the family apart, but more so just it causes tension, during the good times when you're supposed to be there for your son, and to, like, play along and keep your son's spirit alive and everything too. Yeah. And him overcoming that and becoming a believer.
I feel like it could be a bit like Jingle All the Way, but instead of it being like one day in search of a toy, right? It's really that you have to build this belief in Santa.
Like, you have one day to do it.
I mean, you could make it the one day, but like that's part of the goal, I guess, of, like, Scott realizing, or I guess coming to terms and accepting that he's Santa, is also that. I guess, were you saying, like, rather than like him questioning his belief, it's the Charlie who's lacking faith in Santa and, like, getting him to believe?
Yeah, see that's what I was thinking. It's like, what if Charlie from the get-go is like a full believer in Santa, as any kid should be, but then is trying to get his dad to believe?
Oh, so okay. I'm.
Is that not what you were saying?
Not quite.
Okay,
but like you were saying, it should have always been about getting Scott to believe in Santa Claus.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's interesting, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot about these characters where it seems like it was, like I said, either nothing gets resolved or changed, or they were just done backwards.
Hmm.
Because I mean, I've got no problems with that. Of your dad is just like, nope, I'm not Santa. I'm not. There's no such thing as Santa. Even if throughout the entire time of him doing the Santa bit, and they're having their good time and all that stuff, there's a moment of them being like, "Oh, isn't it so great that you're Santa?" Is like, I'm not Santa. There's no such thing as Santa. Like, he still is that non-believer, that active non-believer throughout all of it. I'd be okay with it. But I don't like that they set him up to be the adult that is the believer that is not a believer.
Yeah.
Just I don't know, because it at that point the argument is just between the two parents, right? Of like, do we tell him there's a Santa Claus? Do we not tell him there's a Santa Claus? Like it's he's just picking a side. It's not really about whether he thinks he should believe or not. I don't know.
Kind of trailed off
I'm
for a second.
well,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Do you believe in love after Santa? Yep.
I have a quote.
I only have her quotes.
Jen, I see your hand. Go for it. They're ignoring you.
The angle that I am currently sitting at, I cannot see your hand. I apologize.
Yeah, you guys are so tiny on the TV. I don't know why are they so small?
Because I can't make them bigger.
Because we're elves.
Turn them into Santa and they'll get bigger.
I've got one big TV that's got 3 windows on it. Like, what do you want from me, man?
What do you got, Jen?
I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay.
So here are my final thoughts.
Yeah, go for it.
So, sorry, guys. Final thoughts. This was a good chat. The parts that I was, with it, I zoned out a little bit. Sorry, guys. And,
We were all over the place. It's understandable.
Yeah.
yeah, but it was fun, good movie, and the North Pole wins it.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we know the next pick?
What was that? Oh, yes. I do have next pick, and it is obviously on Disney Plus. I just want to make sure that I get the name correctly. But it is it's the Nutcracker. We're gonna
Oh, I've never seen that.
I have not seen it as well. Here we go. Find this thing.
Oh yeah, next week. Everyone good for Tuesday?
Is it Tuesday that we were doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Should be fine for me.
Yeah.
Da, da, da.
Yep, no event on Tuesday.
Awesome.
I'm
Okay,
sorry,
good.
I'm trying to find the full title for this thing, but
Is it just called the Nutcracker?
no, it's like here it is. It's
You know what's been so funny? And I was like, I'm just trying to find the correct title.
the
Yeah, no, that's right. Home Alone.
Wouldn't that be nice? No, the Nutcracker and the Four Realms came out in 2018.
Wow.
So-
And the Four Realms really adds a lot to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Four realms.
Four Realms. Yes, 2018 Disney Plus. Yeah, that's gonna be next week's movie.
Awesome.
But
Good
I'll leave
night.
it, Jen.
Buenas noches.
And then there were 3. Yeah, I
Jen bailed out at like the very end. So
it's 10 o'clock. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got nothing else.
just quotes.
Yeah.
Same here.
I just have one quote, which I think you already said earlier accidentally. But
I think I've said most of my quotes as well. So
Oh, really?
I think, yeah, I've got like 2 quotes, 3 quotes, 3 quotes.
Yeah, I have definitely a few.
Okay.
All right.
I'm also sending a short to the group right now.
A short?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Mike's super short show? Is it?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's the intro to the North Pole. Just to highlight what we were talking about earlier.
Oh, but the ice.
And Bernard.
Bernard.
Yeah. Okay. Matt, why don't you say one of yours?
So let me find the one. Oh, we've said it a couple of times, but the full quote. Charlie going, "You're flying," and Scott responding with
Yeah.
I'm used to it. I've lived through the 60s.
Yeah.
Everything about that joke is just fantastic. Of the kids just like, "You're flying," and his adult joke response is just fantastic.
And then Charlie's like, okay. Just like moves on.
All right. So this one is when Scott went through the Santa Claus experience for the first time. And Charlie's like, what did it feel like? His response was, it felt like America's Most Wanted.
I didn't fully get that. Like, what does he?
It felt like America's Most Wanted. He was inside this house, breaking and entering, essentially.
Yeah.
And I mean, he set
so
off.
Nick, are you aware of the TV show America's Most Wanted?
I mean, I've heard of it. I've never really watched it.
Okay. This was definitely like a 90s popular TV show. It was right along the lines of Unsolved Mysteries. But it was basically like you get these like, oh man, how do I describe it? Picture like the ESPN highlight of the most wanted criminals of the of the US, and then that's America's Most Wanted. It's like, we're still looking for this guy who was last seen here, last known, last this. If you call, don't approach. Here's the number. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they reenact what they think he did, and then like I said, you also had Unsolved Mysteries where they actually did the reenaction. They reenacted everything, and it was I think it was the announcer was Joe Walsh, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it was definitely a 90s reference.
Yeah, I get it. Breaking and entering into people's houses. Yeah. I could see Santa being America's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
My one quote that I have. Oh, what was the little girl's name? The one with the hot chocolate?
Judy.
Judy.
The elf, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she was like in a purple dress, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. She tells Scott that seeing isn't believing, and that believing is seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I never like really thought of it that way with just the wording of it. Like I never thought of the wording it.
That's why it stuck so heavily with Jen.
Yeah.
I think it stuck actually pretty heavily with all of us.
Yeah. Do you have any Judy quotes, Matt? Because I've got two.
No.
Okay. I mean, might as well just. I mean, Judy, man, she had some zingers. She's so fun to watch. She's like matching wits with Scott or Tim Allen, just keeping level with them. Like I think she did a fantastic job. So good job to Paige. But
she's got one line. I imagine you're gonna say it, that like her delivery and just like her deadpan response with it.
Oh, there's two of them. So it's when he tries the hot chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
And then and he's like, wow, this is really good. And she's like, my own recipe. Took me 1,200 years to get it right.
1,200 years.
What?
It's 1,200 years.
1,200?
I know, but
100?
That's 1,200. She says 1,200 years, not 1,200 years.
Fine.
You're paraphrasing, Brian.
Oh, yeah. Shame on me.
I'm just saying 1,200 years does not sound as nice as 1,200 years.
Okay.
So, you know.
And then the other one is I forgot what Scott says, but but her response is thanks, but I'm seeing someone in rapping.
Oh, he says, "Oh, don't you look a little young or something?"
1,200 years. You look good for your age.
Yeah,
Oh, you look good for your age. And then
Yeah.
she says thanks, but I'm seeing someone in rapping. And rapping, that kills me every time.
I'm also really creeped out by Scott's initial statement. Like it's like it just I got a weird like pedophilia.
No.
Like it was weird.
No,
No,
he's
not at
saying
all.
it because he's like, I don't believe you're 1,200 years old.
Yeah.
Ridiculous that you do. And he's saying it to kind of be an ass. She hits him with that response, and you see his reaction of like, okay.
Yeah.
Like whatever weird.
Maybe it was the way he was sitting. I don't know.
And
I
she's
just got
totally
weird.
deadpan about it too. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's what gets it for me is her delivery of just but I can't remember because is it the second one? I think it is the second one where they bring in like not Judy. They bring in a little girl who looks very similar to Judy, but I think she's a different elf.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And God, like because Judy is such a great character. I wish that they had done more with her. Like you establish her as like this wise old elf who's like just beyond her years, and it's just this tiny little girl.
Yeah.
But you can absolutely have her be this old wise elf and put so many more.
Judy, you're better than Coco.
Oh, for sure. Well, yeah. Coco couldn't actually say anything. No,
hot Coco.
Oh, you're talking about hot Coco.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Coco, like grandmother Coco.
No. She's more than just serving hot cocoa. Come on.
I'm with you. She's more than hot chocolate.
Sure. Oh, we're gonna pick on that too. Okay. I think
clearly saying
over
Coco didn't work.
Was the waitress at Denny's? Wasn't she also named Judy?
Yes.
So was there a correlation there, or just
it's just so he can make that argument after the day one of like Judy was the name of our waitress at the restaurant last night.
Your waitress gave you pajamas?
Yeah. It was just
okay.
Yeah.
They actually do a good job of like dropping a lot of hints of like, is it real? Is it not real?
Right.
But I mean, the fact that he has the pajamas, it's like as an audience member, without question, like, no, it happened, it's real, but there's enough to plant doubt in his mind.
Yep.
Oh, that's really funny.
Did Judy give you like any Topanga vibes? I remember she did as a kid.
Which Judy are we talking?
The elf Judy.
Then yes.
Okay. Yeah. She definitely gave me Topanga vibes when I was younger, and I'm like, I think it's still there. I think it's still there.
I don't think Topanga waitressed a day in her life.
Do you have any quotes?
I could see this, especially young Topanga the early days.
Yeah, exactly. Topanga.
Yeah. I think the last one we mentioned it earlier, but that you're supposed to drink the milk. That's one of my favorite lines. But the last one I've got is it's actually from the ELFS ones. Where it's right before they take off with Charlie, and he looks over and the first time he says, don't ever do this without elf supervision.
Right.
Like, what a classic freaking 90s thing of like, I mean, we got warned every time, like, don't do this without adult supervision.
Yeah, exactly.
Like constantly.
Yeah. Even Club Penguin was like that. I heard back in the day, it was like,
I would not be surprised.
Like, ask your parents for permission before signing up for Club Penguin or whatever.
Every advertisement on TV, like it was like telling you to go do something that's free, but it's like ask your parents for permission.
Yeah. Always warned.
Yeah.
Never listened.
That was the best part, right? It's like, is always ask your parents for permission. Actually, I think it was Nickelodeon had its magazine, and for like the subscription, I remember because I watched Nickelodeon a lot. They always had the, ask your parents for permission to get whatever subscription. I'm like, hey, I don't give a shit about their permission. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Give me this magazine.
Also, they have the credit card. I don't. So
Exactly. Which is what it really boils down to, right? It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
But yeah, that was,
Let's see. Okay, a couple other ones. When I wake up, I'm getting a CAT scan.
What?
That one was good.
that's
what-
Scott when they're flying. It's finishing up the night, and it's like,
Yep.
Merry Christmas to all. And to all, good night. When I wake up, I'm getting a CAT scan.
Yep.
I don't remember that at all.
It's during like the sunrise.
Yeah. Right before they land in the North Pole.
In your dreams, Slay Boy. Wow.
Veronica.
That's
Very nice.
Veronica, very nice. In your dreams, Slay Boy. Woo, that's a burn.
Bye.
And then we're your worst nightmare. Elves with attitude. Those are a couple ones.
It's a great band name. Elves with attitude.
Mm-hmm.
We're elves with attitude. 1, 2, 3. Da, 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 da.
To be honest, watching this, I was like, I wonder if next year I can piece together an ELFS Halloween costume, because that would be incredible.
That would be awesome. But can
Mhm.
we? Oh, wait, I'm trying to think.
I've
now.
got a costume for next year, like, because I didn't get to wear mine this year.
Oh wait, I have a costume for next year. Damn it! Okay, the year after.
But you guys already have costumes for next year. It's not even next year yet.
It's 'cause I
Yeah, we didn't
have a
get to-
costume this year.
We didn't get to play.
You guys didn't do anything for Halloween.
We did things.
Oh.
We just didn't do the
It's
costume.
not costume related.
Oh.
Anyway, but I was thinking, I was like, oh my god, that'd be such a fun Halloween costume to crank out.
It'd be a fun one to see how many people recognize it.
Exactly. Especially, what, 30 years?
Yeah.
I think if you have like the E.L.F.S, I think people will recognize that.
That one, it would be pretty
That stands out.
obvious, yeah.
But how quickly will they notice that?
Yeah.
Right. I could do it like super small, like the Santa Claus card.
They have to look it for it. Like,
Okay. While we're back on the card, like that magnifying scene, that is freaking iconic to me.
It is.
The bit where Bernard has the card under the magnifying glass, and they're cutting between him reading and Tim Allen going,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
like his eyes reading real fast, like that whole thing is freaking iconic to me.
It is.
Like that's another bit that like will live rent free in my head.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious, and it's classic Tim Allen of doing those faces.
it's very 90s to like mouth people, and you know.
I feel like the 90s we loved our magnifying glasses, so we're just constantly magnifying stuff and like
True.
making weird faces or just doing weird stuff with magnifying glasses.
Yeah. Think of Sid in Toy Story.
I was thinking besides burning stuff, but yes, definitely a lot of that.
Yeah.
Pyro.
That's all the quotes, guys.
That's all the quotes. So it's final thoughts and who won the movie for us then?
Yes, sir.
Boy,
Who won the movie?
is it?
A little bit.
Can open the window.
We're almost done.
All right. Well, then I'll go first. This was great. Love talking about this movie. I I had tried racking my brain thinking if we had watched this before or not. But I've really enjoyed this chat, whether we did it the first time or not and said the same things, who knows, but this was fun. It was great reliving this movie. It's a Christmas classic. It's one that I'll admit I've kind of grown tired of, but at the same time, when Christmas rolls around, I'm not going to be upset to see it on TV. Yeah. For who wins the movie in 2023, I'm gonna have to give it to Tim Allen because this man has turned his first lead film acting role into a franchise. One that I think could have been better, but at the same time, 30 years later, he's got a TV show, 2 seasons worth. So got me interested. I'm going to check it out. So yeah, Tim Allen. Tim Allen wins it for me.
Wait, this is his first film.
This was his first film as the lead.
Okay.
Right? That was the fact.
Yeah, that was it.
Maybe that explains some things. Final thoughts. I still stand by my rating. I know it's like it seems a little low, like maybe to some people, or like to in comparison to some other movies I've rated.
What did you rank it again?
3.4.
3.4.
Which is like a little bit lower than what I normally rate movies at. And you would think like a Disney Christmas movie, like I wouldn't rank one of those low like I did, but I did. I just, and like we've talked about it, like I think that the writing could be better and the characters can be a little bit better and stronger and have better arcs, and whatnot. I will watch the second and third one this month,
Okay.
Unless if somebody picks them for Disney December, but yeah, I'll watch them just to kind of see where they go with the trilogy.
I just want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, totally. What wins the movie? Winner.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's just nothing.
It is.
There's nothing that really stands out.
I'm not trying to put words into your mouth, but like that's why I go with Tim Allen. I mean, all honesty, when you think of this movie, it's synonymous with one thing: Tim Allen.
See, like I don't. Like he was fine, but I don't think that he was like the best thing about the movie in general.
What is?
That's what I'm trying to think of. Okay. I like the story. I just don't like the writing. Like I like the concept of believing in like Christmas and believing in Santa. I think that that's really what like the story was, and I think that's what wins it.
Okay.
Is the story, but not the writing.
Belief, kind of like Polar Express, right?
Oh God, what a terrifying movie to look at. Yeah, just the belief in Christmas and the Christmas spirit. That's what wins it for me.
The Christmas spirit, I like it.
Yeah.
Be Rizzo.
All right. Let's see. Love the chat. I'm stoked that we have figured out that Comet was the one who is responsible for the original Santa Claus off the roof, and it's an inside job. So I feel good about this.
He was the saboteur.
Yes, we can move forward. I can move forward in life knowing that is there. Unfortunately, we didn't get some of the major head scratchers answered, but I didn't think we would because I've been racking my brain all for years on it. So you never know. Let's see who won the movie. Well, shit. It really is.
We're all same boat.
It really is a tough one. It seriously is, and I'll tell you, it's not Tim Allen, and for me. So I am gonna go with an honorable mention. Is gonna go to, and it's more of like I don't even know how to word this, but it is the what I keep talking about, the blend of North Pole Santa world combined with real world and how they intertwined both of them and made the flow work as good as they did. So that's my honorable mention. But I really do think the winner for me is Bernard. There's just something, he's barely in the movie, but he is forever memorable. I never forget his name. I was intrigued by him. I'm intrigued by him every time. The small things that he's doing, his delivery, his confidence, his authority, just everything about it. It is just like I can't help but feel that I think he may be in like 4 scenes, but I remember every scene that he's in. I remember his presence and just how good of a job he did. And to me, it's like that truly is winning the movie because you're barely in it, yet you're the one that I can easily think of every time.
Fair. Yeah. Good old Barnaby.
And in that category, Judy's right up there too, then, if I'm being real with myself, because she's like 2 scenes.
Like as great as Judy is, I can see your argument for Bernard.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I think that wraps it up for the Santa Claus.
Officially.
Officially wraps it up for the Santa. Let's put a bow on it.
I think Judy knows someone.
Good. Could use a hand. And I wouldn't mind getting her hot chocolate recipe.
Oh, dude,
that's like the dream, figuring out Judy's hot chocolate recipe.
It looks so good.
But anyway,
it's Nestle Total.
Yeah, we're just Nestle Toulouse.
Sorry.
Yeah, that wraps it up for the Santa Claus. Tune in next week where we will be talking about the Nutcracker and the Four Realms, also streaming on Disney Plus. It's gonna be a first watch for me, so I'm interested.
First for me.
Sweet. I was a little hopeful it'd be a first time for all of us, but
Do I even need to say?
no, you're a big old virgin. It's okay. Yeah. Tune in next week to hear us chat about the Nutcracker and the Four Realms. You can check us out on Instagram at good.flickas. You can see some past videos on YouTube at GoodFlickas. You can check us out live here. Check us out here live on twitch.tv at GoodFlickas, and send us an email at goodflickas2020@gmail.com. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a share, and just spread us across the interwebs. Get us all up in the nooks and crannies of your internet search history and your friends' internet search history.
Spread us like Christmas joy.
Oh yes, spread us far and wide.
Spread us like peanut butter on toast.
It's so hot. But that's gonna do it for us here. Fine, go ahead and close us out.
If anyone's stuck around this long, God bless you.
We're done.
No, we hope you guys enjoyed the show. I thought we brought a lot of great points to the Santa Claus talk tonight, and we hope that you think so too. They were afraid to do this, but Good Flickas are not. So Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. We'll see you next week.